You know, if you told me I would be in Abu Dhabi, right, just an hour away from Dubai, in a hotel room overlooking what seems like a beautiful bay, also combined with like, I don't know, an office block, speaking to Idris Elba, I would have said to you, this is probably a psychedelic dream that you're having. But that's exactly where I am. Chatting to Idris Elba in Abu Dhabi. And, oh yeah, before we jump into everything, man, congratulations on the SAG Awards. That was beautiful.
Oh,
that was really beautiful.
Coming from you?
No, man, for real. That
really
was
though?
really, really beautiful. It was funny. It was heartfelt. It was like a vibe. It was.
Whoa. Hold up. You just tell me I was funny.
You know that you're funny, though.
No, bro.
You know that you're funny.
Okay, so me and you having a laugh about fufu or African stuff, you know, we laugh.
Yeah.
But to stand up in front of the world like that and do what you do, I've thought about you a lot, actually, because you have a very good way of commanding a room. Your comic timing is hilarious. You go off the cuff and come back onto script. I was thinking about Trevor. I was trying to challenge it.
No, man, you killed it. If you were channeling me, I now see me differently. I actually want to see my whole life channeled through Idris Elba now. If you saying you were doing Trevor Noah, I'm like, damn.
It was.
No, man, for real. It was, what was it like? I haven't seen you host before, by the way.
Yeah, I wasn't meant to be hosting. They just gave me more segments than anyone else because I had won 2 awards one time. They duped me. They said, no, it's just a couple more links. I'm hosting.
Yeah, you were hosting. It was a beautiful moment for me, man. I think, 1, it was cool to see something different. 2, I loved the vibe in the room. Like, you know, acting is such a weird profession in that from the outside, acting seems impervious to anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure you know what I mean by this. You know, like a lot of people out there will see you as an actor. They see anybody as an actor and they go, oh, what a great job. What a great life.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Nothing affects you. You don't have the stress that a normal person has.
Yeah.
And I noticed in the awards, you and other actors spent a lot of time talking about what it was like going through the strikes in Hollywood, what it was like having the industry shut down. And I wondered, like, do those moments make you realize the fragility of the industry you're in?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of strikes, you know, in terms of workers' rights, because that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
It's like we're workers, one way or another, of an industry. We're called actors, called superstars, called Hollywood, but we're workers.
Right.
And the rights of those workers are fragile, especially in an industry that, you know, is dominated by a few. And what was interesting about that room is that, I mean, there was the biggest names in the film industry who all went through the same thing, you know, and it was a strike and it was crippling. I think for all of us, you know, we all the actors in that room just realized that, you know, we're lucky to be working, lucky to have the industry that we have, and we have a union that actually really fought for some really important issues.
Was there ever a moment in your life when you stopped? I mean, fear is the wrong word, but it's like, so maybe I'll try and explain this for people who aren't aware. A lot of people know that in acting there's auditioning. A lot of people know that in acting you don't know when you may get your next role, etc. But I think few people truly appreciate how unpredictable it is. You know, I wonder, has there ever been a moment in your career when you felt secure as Idris, where you go like, all right, no, I'm good now? Or is there always that thing, that shadow behind you going like, you never know, Idris, you never know?
You know, it's interesting because when I did The Wire, okay, The Wire was a 4-year explosion of my life.
Yeah.
Before The Wire, I was literally penniless in New York City. And after The Wire, I was arguably one of the most famous black actors, at least in America.
Right.
Because of my character, Stringer Bell, was so celebrated. And at that time, leaving The Wire, because I didn't know I was going to die, and I didn't know my character was going to die. So
wait, what do you mean you didn't know he was going to die?
I didn't know my character was going to die until we got the episode.
Wait, for real?
Yeah, 100. That's another story altogether. But
damn, it
was tough love. But at that time, I was flying high. I mean, I could go anywhere. Like, people were comparing me to Denz. You know?
Yeah.
You know, I was only 3rd season in. Anyway, when it when it fell off very quickly, very suddenly, I remember thinking, oh, I'm good. I'm string a bell.
Yeah.
And that was a tough pill to swallow. Although I did work, but it was not the same.
You see, that's something I don't even think about. Just my character dying. Like when I'm doing a hosting gig, when I'm doing comedy, there's not even a moment where I think to myself, yep, someone might surprise me and tell me, hey Trevor, after the next ad break, you are no longer the host. There's a piano that's gonna drop on your head and you're gone.
Yeah. It was a bit like this, you know. You usually get your scripts, you know, like 2, 3 in a row, they write them.
Right.
And I think the way I got it, I got episode 7. I was like, episode 7. I got episode 7. Where's 8? Can I get 8? What's wrong? You're not in 8. What do you mean I'm not in 8? You should read it. That's how I kind of found out. I was like, wait, whew. Stringer. What? And it was crazy. It was like that. That's how I found out. And to your point, you know, it was scary. Yeah.
You have, I will say, from the outside at least, one of the most amazing careers in that you've played everything, you play everyone, you exist everywhere doing everything. Some people want you to be Idris Elba, the action star. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But then some people go, man, Idris Elba can also be the vulnerable love interest. Mm-hmm. And then obviously, you know, you're in Avengers, you're out there conquering Fast and the Furious, etc. I know that it wasn't easy, but I want to know how and why you thought you could play something more than the industry wanted you to play. Because if you're successful as a gangster, Hollywood goes, you're a gangster. And it's not even like a negative thing. Hollywood just goes, we know that you can do this, so you can do this.
You do this.
You chose not to do that. Why?
I think I learned early on the power of no. Like, when I moved to America to become an actor there, my career in England wasn't bad. It was good. You know, I was.
How old were you when you moved?
I was probably about 25, 26 years old.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And there was this junction where I said, I'm not going to do what you want me to do in England. I'm going to say no, and I'm going to jump ship and go to America. And the power of no was my liberator. Because in England, there was this definite glass ceiling. You could see it coming, you know. It was like you're going to play one kind of role. And in England, it's a smaller market.
Yeah.
Back then, going to America was like, what? You go, where? My guy, you all right? Stay here. And so post The Wire, every role that came my way was all gangsters.
Yeah.
All of them. You know, films, television. And I had to say no. But I was okay with saying no because I thought, no, I've got some range. I need to be able to show that range. And that was definitely, I don't know, it was, like I said, it was a liberator for me to be able to know that the power of no is important.
Yeah, but talk me through some of the doubts. You come from the UK. You're doing decently there, right? It's a small market, but it's a robust market. You know, once you're in, you're working, you're doing things, BBC, you know, Channel 4, whatever. You come to the US. It wasn't an overnight thing for you, though, in the US, was it?
No. I mean, the first 2 or 3 years was just flatline.
Because I've heard rumors of you working at like a comedy club. I remember someone saying this once. Yeah. They were like, I met Idris at a comedy club. And I was like, what do you mean you met Idris like doing stand-up? They're like, no, he was working the door.
I wasn't doing stand-up. I was standing up at the door. That's what I was doing.
The original stand-up.
The original stand-up.
No, but okay, so talk me through. So what part of the career is this happening in? So you've come to the US.
Yeah. I've come.
Yeah.
I had some savings.
Yeah.
My wife at the time, I was married, you know, we were young. We were like, let's go to America. Had savings. I was like, power of no. This is great. We're out here. I didn't work for 2 years. Straight 24 months, no money. And my savings ran out in the first 6 months. and it was a struggles. So, that's where I started to DJ in New York. I brought my records over. Literally, I shipped over 6 crates of records.
This is wild.
And I moved from New York because I couldn't afford New York. I ended up in Jersey City. The rent was much cheaper.
Yeah.
Bergen Ave, what up? I reinvented, bro. It was one of these moments where it's like you have to dig in or you're going home.
Yeah, but you didn't think of going home 6 months in, 8 months in, 12 months in, 16 months in. What is keeping you from going home during that moment? Like, what is the motivating force in your life that didn't allow you to give up? I'm trying to understand that.
I think it was, I jumped the ship, man. Like I had done something no English, no black actor, no young man had done that I knew, which is I'm going to go to America and I'm going to be an actor over here. And I couldn't take the idea of letting that fail. I just couldn't. I did not want that to fail. And I was auditioning for a lot of them, but my accent wasn't very good. I couldn't really, pull it off.
How did you get the accent good?
Well,
because you have one of the best accents. Your accent is so good. I've seen people get angry when they discover that you're not American. I've seen people get really, like, not even angry, like they angry that you could fool them to that level.
Yeah. No, I've been in those conversations. Like, I think the way I got, because I was unemployed, bro, and I was living in New Jersey. I lived in Brooklyn for a little bit. I was living life, I was working the door, I was bartending, I was DJing. And before you know it, you just start speaking like an American because you end up saying, you're in the ting. You're in the ting. And then, third year in though, it started to get really struggled because my wife and I were going through some stuff. She was pregnant. And there's one casting director, I talk about it all the time, Alexa Fogel. She would put me up for stuff. And she said, hey, listen, this Wire thing's come up. It's called The Wire. It's a pilot. They're going to shoot it in January. But if you go in, you cannot let them know you aren't American because they will not. I mean, this is about Baltimore. It's very specific. They don't want any strangers. I mean, please. So I was auditioning for this thing and I auditioned for 4 weeks straight in an American accent. And then the fourth audition, the producer, David Simon, and another producer who's passed now, great guy, they were in the room just like this. And they said to me, Idris, where are you from?
That is the phrase every immigrant is terrified of hearing, no matter where they are in the world. Excuse me, where are you from?
When your palms start sweating, little sweat perforations in your forehead, and you're like, oh man. And I'm thinking to myself, they told you don't say nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, your accent is shit. Oh, he sussed you. And I was like, I'm looking at him, and by this time I've known them. This fourth audition.
Yeah.
Hey, you just come on, sit down. We want you to do the scene again. That kind of thing. I look at him and I said, I'm from East London. The room just exploded. Oh my God, I told you. No, you didn't know. And I'm sitting there, whoa, what is going on? And there's like, yo, we had a bet. I said that he's not from Baltimore. He's not from Brooklyn. He's from somewhere else. But I thought maybe Jamaican, maybe Haitian. You're from England. And this is the conversation. I'm sitting there. And they were like, okay, you got the job. You got the job. We don't want you to play Avon, though. We want you to play Stringer Bell. And I was in the room.
Oh, man, so you went for Avon.
Yeah. You got the job. I'll tell Alexa, welcome, thank you. But wow, you owe me money. I'm walking out of the room like, did my life just change? I don't know. What's going on? And that was it. That's the way I got that film.
You see, that's what I mean about serendipitous. Like, I love moments like that where now I'm trying to picture the show with you as Avon. It doesn't work in my head. It might have worked. It might not. But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just
100%.
like these stories. I love that phrase though. Like, where are you from?
Yeah.
Because in a way, what you said is so much deeper than just you putting on an accent. Mm. You lived as an American. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
I don't think that's any coincidence. The fact that you were grinding, the fact that you were working multiple jobs, the fact that you didn't know what was going to happen from one paycheck to the next, the fact that you were, in barber shops and in comedy clubs and working the bar and DJing and in a really strange way, both sad and beautiful at the same time.
The fact
you were living as an American.
Oh yeah, the time that I knew I was American is when I had to go to the DMV to get my license. Okay, bro. Like, if anyone knows what that is like, oh my days, that was one of the most. As soon as I had my license, I was like, yes. Can't tell me nothing because. The process was crazy. Anyway,
oh no, that's a rites of passage. I feel like you have not lived in America until you've gone to the DMV in America. We're going to continue this conversation right after this short break. But let's talk a little bit about that. Like, where you're from. There's a special connection I always feel with people who have moved from one place, especially the place they were born and lived, to another place to try and do something that requires them to ingratiate themselves to the people of that place. I obviously started my career in South Africa. South Africa is very similar to the UK in that we have a small industry, but it works. It's robust, and you do the little that you can and you do it in the world that they allow you to do it in. Going to America was ridiculous. In my world, people literally were like, what are you doing? Why? Like, why? Why America? And
what would you say?
About America? Well, yeah, but you see, my thing was I was never going for America. I don't know if you can relate to this, but when I look at anything that I'm doing, I try to do it to the best of my ability and almost to the end of what it is supposed to be.
Right.
So if I'm doing comedy, I do my best. I toured everywhere in South Africa. I started touring in Southern Africa. So I was in Namibia, I was in Zambia, I was in Botswana. I was doing my comedy everywhere. The natural extension of that comedy is going to America, right? Because if you want to be one of the best comedians in the world, you cannot do it without performing at the top stages, at the top levels.
Yeah.
I was already performing in the UK. I was doing shows in everywhere from London to Brighton, Newcastle, Liverpool, you name it.
Circuit.
Yeah, I've been there, Oh, you're not bad, are you, mate? You know what I mean? I've been there. I was doing it. But the US comes with a different type of pressure, with a different type of landscape. And so I went, I need to go and try this there. And it wasn't about like the bright lights of America. It was about the natural progression of my career.
Oh, yeah.
But then just like you now move into a new place where people go, you sound funny. You don't say, like I remember when I was first hosting the Daily Show, no joke, I thought one of the biggest complaints we'd get would be about my view on America or my politics or whatever. The biggest complaint I got was about how I say the word controversy. And then
complaint.
Yeah, there was like a big, we got letters. We got letters daily. And the producers sat me down at some point and they were like, hey, Trev, so there are some words that you say, it's throwing people off a little bit and we understand it, but is there a way you could find a middle ground? Is there, do you know what I mean? I had to relearn so many words just because you're trying to work within the space, And in a weird way, it then starts to redefine who are you?
Yeah, and you are someone else when, I wouldn't say you're someone else, right? Because you always take your roots with you. If you're rooted, if you're a rooted person, you take that with you, right? But adaptation.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I think that it's not for everyone. You know,
there's
like,
new parts of you, definitely.
100%, it's kind of like, I had what I call an accent crisis. I had a crisis of accent because when I came out of The Wire and, if I was going to a party or whatever, I was doing an interview or something and I talked the way I talk, they'd be like, yo, why are you talking like that, man? No, for real though. What, you doing a part? What are you doing, man? And you're like,
you try to figure out if you want friction, right?
That's how I talk. No, seriously.
Yeah.
They would almost feel like, yo, you got me, man. Like, you're Stringer Bell. You come from this. And because of The Wire especially was not a satire, these were based on a real culture, a real epidemic, if you like, of American underbelly. They took to my characters to the point where I had to hold myself, Idris, a certain way definitely amongst the African-American community.
Right.
I had to hold myself with the sort of respect almost they had for Stringer Bell.
Yeah.
Which was a man trying to do good.
Yeah.
A man trying to do better than he was, being prescribed to do.
Wow.
And that really was interesting, what that did to me did for my confidence, when I went back to England, and people were like, yo, why are you talking like that? And I just found myself, when you're in England or you're in South Africa, Americans come over, they just got so much confidence.
Yeah.
Bigger and brasher and they got that different, they believe they got that different. And I went back to England and I definitely felt like, oh wow, I have adapted myself. Even when I was in my mum and dad's house or with my boys, they were like, yo, you seem a bit different.
You seem a bit happier. You seem a little more enthusiastic. That's one thing I've learned about the UK. There's a little bit of like, all right then.
Yeah,
Tone
relax,
it down a bit.
tone it down.
Oh yeah.
Chill out,
you're doing
chill
all
out.
right. You're doing all right. Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Yeah.
Humble. It's the tall poppy syndrome.
It really is.
I think that's part of the reasons why I didn't audition well, because I couldn't walk in there and be like, "Bow,
This should be mine."
They'd be like, "Oh, Idris, that was a good take. Can you do another one?" I'd be like, "Oh, did you like it? Oh, great. Okay, I'll try again then."
Oh.
Wait, the other guy, like, you like that? Okay, hold up. Wait till you see this one. That wasn't me.
It's funny.
Culturally.
I remember when I first started doing stand-up comedy in the US. You understand this. In America, they would have what they call the urban rooms and then rooms. Right? What that means is these are rooms where black people watch black comedy, and then the rest of the rooms are just, I guess, regular comedy. I always found that weird because I come from a country that's predominantly black, and we never looked at it like that. So anyway, they go, people would be like, "Oh, you got to go perform in urban rooms. Go and do some urban rooms." And so I get to these urban rooms, and it's black comedians, black audiences, and I would get on stage. And in South Africa, number one, Africa, you greet. So I'd walk out. I greet the audience. Good evening, everybody. And that audience would stare at me. And I remember after one of the shows, one of my favorite people in the world, his name's Chris Spencer, comedian, really like a mentor to me in the game. He came to me after one of the shows and he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "Did you steal something?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Man, you walk on stage like you stole something." He's like, "Man, you gotta get on there. You gotta own that stage, baby. Man, you walking on there like you ain't supposed to be there. You start making the audience doubt themselves, man. They be looking at you like, you supposed to be there? We don't feel like you're supposed to be there." He's like, "Man, you gotta get up there." And I was like, "Well, that's not how we do." He's like, "Well, that's how we do it, baby." He's like, "You gotta understand." He's like, half those people in the audience, they funnier than you. They know they're funnier than you. So you better show them why you up there. And it was a beautiful way. When you connect those things, you find.
That's funny.
I'd love to know, in that, what is it that's inspired you to connect all of these parts of yourself? Because you're not just Idris Elba, the movie star in Hollywood. I've always loved how you have bigged up the UK at every opportunity that you've been given. You've also bigged up African Americans at every opportunity you've been given. You've adopted these communities, and one that always touches me, obviously, is Africa. Idris Elba doesn't wave at Africa from far. My man, your passport is stamped. Your passport is full of jollof rice.
I knew you was gonna say that. Full okra. No.
It is full.
Do you know what, Trev? So two things that were quite significant, right? To, I guess, who I am today is, one, my mom told me that my mom was born in Ghana.
Yeah.
Okay. Her mom is Ghanaian, but her dad was a Second World War vet from Kansas City. And on his deployment back to the States, he heard that, segregation over here is still kicking it. I mean, in the army, there was segregation, but everyone was fighting for each other, right? Soldiers were going back to the States and told you can't come in the restaurant.
Yeah.
So he said he and his brother decided they're going to go to Africa. They went to Ghana. And that's where he had 11 children, my mum being the 9th, the last one.
Wow.
So that information came to me just before I then went to America. And I kind of went with a slightly different purpose. I was kind of like, oh, wait, what? Oh, I've got roots here then. I mean, I belong here kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
The second thing is that at some point in my later life, I was probably about 29 or so, I took my DNA test. I knew my mum had an American father, but my dad's from Sierra Leone, very proud. Sierra Leone, Ghana, DNA. No Sierra Leonean.
Wait, what?
No. 10% Ghana, 10% Nigerian, 20% Bantu, 5% Togo, 5% Senegalese, Cameroonian. I mean, it was a map, right? I looked at this thing like, what is going on? Bantu being the Southern African tribe.
Yeah, that's my side of the world.
That traveled up.
Huh.
So I looked at this thing, right? And I was like, what the? Took it again, same thing.
You took it again?
Yeah. I did. I was like...
I always find it funny when people do the same thing twice, hoping for a different result. I don't know why I find that so funny. It's a DNA test, but I love the idea that you're like, hold on, let's try this again.
No,
and then you're like, and this time I'm going to push certain parts of myself. I'm going to bring out certain parts of myself.
I ate okra before I took it. I ate jollof. I was like, no, hold on.
What were you hoping to get the second time
Well,
around?
my mum said to me, I told her about this. She said, Kuna's my mother. She said, Kuna, that is all money making. How much did you pay? How much did you pay? I told her. She's like, you see? To come and tell you that you're not from Sierra Leone. Your dad is from Sierra Leone. Your mom is from Ghana. I'm like, yeah, but mum, scientifically, like that's not how it works. Kuna, listen. Anyway, so I did it again. I didn't even tell her the results the second time around, but this was me. And I just found myself like, not questioning, but I was like, wow, I'm African.
Yeah, man.
I am from this continent. And it also reminded me that everywhere I go in Africa, probably a bit like you too, right? People claim you.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
my
in a
brother.
beautiful way.
They claim you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're a resident now. You know what I mean? Wherever I go. And I guess I adopted that. So now I'm in the public eye and when people, talk to me about where I'm from, I have a real rich backstory.
It's beautiful.
I can talk about my granddad. I can talk about my Freetown, Sierra Leone was the home of the returned slaves. No wonder my DNA doesn't say Freetown, Sierra Leone, because my dad's DNA is probably mixed from so many different types of tribes, So that has been the very feeling I have every time I open my mouth about where I'm from.
Yeah.
I'm from England. I was born and raised there. I'm proud of that. But out of that comes this sort of, I'm an explorer, I'm an explorer of myself. I'm an explorer of the cultures that I'm from. And I remember, man, I think we talked about this, but when I got to play Nelson Mandela.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
When it hit the news in South Africa, it was polarizing. People were like, this guy can't play. He's obviously West African. What are you talking about? He's not Xhosa. How's he gonna play Nelson? Okay, he's tall, but what, are you joking? And others were like, no, fantastic. They got a Hollywood actor to play a great man.
Right.
It was just really, and I remember thinking, wow, I never really thought about it until, at the time I said, dude, this is the first thing I said. I said, Nelson's light skinned. My agent is South African. He's like, Idris, listen, don't ever repeat that, okay? Just don't repeat that. I was like, no, but seriously, man, what are they going to say? Like, what is South Africans going to say? And then he said to me, remember when you took your DNA test? What happened? I went, yeah, you're African, baby. You're African. And so is Nelson. So just go and kick the shit out of this role.
Right.
And I remember doing this one scene. It was in Soweto, and it was one of the scenes when Nelson was a lawyer. Beginnings of his rallying, for the
ANC.
Really early parts. And he was in Soweto, beautiful suit, lawyer, departing, boxer, radical guy, suave guy. And the director did not want me to come out and rehearse. He just wanted me to be ready. He had 4 cameras, 700
extras in the cast. Yeah, just like
all
you coming
from
out.
Soweto, you know what I mean? Young people, but...
So he wants you to come out and just do the speech as if you were doing the speech, because there is no doing a speech twice.
And we're going to shoot it.
Yeah.
I just want to see what happens. I was back there like this, boy. Oh my God. I'm going to get booed. I'm going to get booed. It was almost exactly what Nelson probably had to go through at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, who's this guy, this lawyer coming out here talking all this shit? Is he crazy? Mm-hmm. I came out there, man. First thing I even heard someone say, is that String Abel? What is he doing up there? Right? Another one said, that's the guy from Daddy's Little Girls. I could hear them.
That is so funny. So everyone knows everything you've been in.
Yeah. But I said, how he's playing Madiba? First take, mind you. They're staring at me. And this is exactly what, because at the time, Soweto was like, boy, we're not sure if we're going to... There was people listening. Mm-hmm. They're like, are we going to stand with this guy? Because this guy is trying to get us all in trouble. He's talking some radical shit.
Yeah.
And here I was, out here, playing Nelson, dark as you can get, hitting the accent, hitting the notes, hitting the beats. And I never forget about it because it's quite an emotional, rousing speech. But at the end of the first tape, man, I was in tears. Practically the first 5 rows of people were in tears with me. And we're talking about freeing Africans.
Yeah.
From the bullshit, freeing them. And man, it was just the craziest mishmash of all of it. You know, me as an actor, who am I? Where am I from? Should I be here? Do I have the right to play the big man? Then these young people who know Idris, who have celebrated Idris's career, are watching me polarized by, can he pull off Madibs?
Yeah.
And then, of course...
Slowly growing into it with you.
Growing into it with me. At the same time, Madibs, at the time, slowly winning the people over, the community over, into his rhetoric. So it was a fascinating, man. So it's a quick...
How did you keep... Because Nelson Mandela has one of the most difficult accents to pull off.
Yeah.
How did you keep that in? Can you still do it till this day? Because you have so many accents. You have like different English accents. You've got different American accents. You've got... At the SAG Awards, I don't know where you pulled out a Robert De Niro from. I'm not even joking. That was one of the most impressive roles. Because when you started, I was like, well, you can't do Robert De Niro. You're massive. It's like, look at your size. Look at Robert De Niro. Yo, you became Robert De Niro. You even became a little lighter. I don't know how you did it, Idris. Like your skin tone changed. You became lighter. You became smaller. I'm not even... Yo, that was good.
I'll take that.
But I'm being for real though. How long do you hold on to them for? Like, how do you keep them forever, or do they like slip in time?
It's funny when you said earlier you have one of the best American accents. Like, I disagree. If I'm in a role, I'm in a role, and at that time I can do it because I guess I've got to live it. As close to the honesty of it as I can. But if you ask me to do it now, if you ask me to do Madib now, it would sound like an impression.
Oh, that makes okay.
I can't. Like, even when I'm just joking around and doing American accents, they're not on point.
It's not the exact same.
It's not the same thing, but because...
Well, Nelson, I find I never lose my Nelson Mandela. I always, like there'll be days where I just do it for no reason. I'm being serious. I'll literally just like be walking around in my room and I'll just be like, never forget those people. It's just like it's in the... I use my Nelson Mandela to get to my Barack Obama.
Okay.
Because I find they have the same... my conspiracy theory is that Mandela taught Obama how to do it. Because they got the same... Yeah, because they got the same thing. Because like, you know, because Mandela has the... I believe those South Africans who must fight for this country. He's got that thing, right? Mm-hmm. And then Barack, if you take it's the natural progression of that, right? Mm-hmm. I believe we can come together. And as Americans, we got to try to, it's a stronger voice. It has a lot of, but whenever I lose it, I have to go back to Mandela because it's the same. You know what I mean?
Right.
As Americans, we got to find our way to believe in ourselves. It's the same. It's like
I'm fighting every impulse to challenge you to a Barack and a Mandela right now.
Why don't we do it?
No, because
what? What's going to happen?
Because you're just going to murder me.
I don't believe that that's true. I don't believe that that's true. I bet do your Mandela. I'll even it'll be like a harmony.
Trevor, when you're doing Mandela, there's got to be a very...
You see, you're killing it. This guy just pulled it out.
But when it's Barack, there's got to be no, that's terrible.
No, but you're Barack. You know why? Because
Because I took it up.
Yeah, no,
Here's be dumb.
chesty.
Yeah.
Barack is also, he's also thrown. But your Mandela, that was flawless. I was almost doing like Mandela, like you hear him on the radio. When you're hearing a broadcast
Yes,
of Nelson
he
Mandela.
pitches up.
Yes.
He does pitch up.
But when you would speak to him in person.
Yeah.
It's funny you say the thing about like knowing yourself and the pieces of yourself. I wonder if that's what's made you such an amazing actor. Is that like you have been forced in life to discover the parts of yourself as a real character that makes you who you are?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I feel like all great actors will tell you that they have to know all the parts that make the character who they are. What would you say you've brought from your life into acting? And what would you say that acting has brought into your life the other way around?
I would say that in the maturity of any actor, unless you're a child actor and you win out your first audition and you're a star.
Yeah.
But the maturity of an actor is a patient game. You know, you kiss a lot of frogs, a lot of auditions, a lot of no's before you get that yes. Okay. A lot of rejection. But I've had some really challenging moments in my life. And I definitely know as an actor, where you have to have thick skin, you have to go through some stuff that actually is traumatizing for you, right? You know, when you play a role like Luther, for example, he sees a lot of murder, destruction, okay, blah, blah, blah. I go in, I play that role, and I play it to all of my ability, but my body doesn't actually know I'm acting.
That's the thing people take for granted, I think.
Right, you know? So when I'm crying or the trauma or I'm yelling or my head's about to explode, it's great acting, it's great, but actually my body doesn't know the difference.
What do you do to get back to Idris, and how do you work on releasing that from you as a person?
The first thing is to acknowledge that, you know, you're acting, bro.
Yeah.
It's not real. Go do something for yourself. Go treat yourself good. Go take some therapy. Like all of that has helped me become, I think, a better human being, because I know my body. I'm so dedicated to my characters that I know I need to be dedicated to Idris as well, which is where the DJing, where the philanthropy, where the
I
other
love that.
parts.
So that's all for you.
Yeah,
that's you. Because I've seen people ask many times. They will say, "What are you doing, man? You've worked so hard to climb the mountain that is Hollywood. You have broken through so many barriers." And then man turns around and says he's a DJ and he's making music and he's taking a step back from acting and he's, but I've seen you on the decks. You are having the time of your life. But I didn't know that you were doing it for you. I thought you were looking for another challenge or another thing, but that's like you.
I need it. I need the balance. I need the natural juices that come from that.
What is it about DJing in particular? I used to DJ, so I want to know what you...
For me, it's... there's a really beautiful energy sweet point, right? It's like when you make a whole room laugh with one gesture.
Yeah.
That absolute pinnacle moment is an energy that you can't replicate. And it's like when you mix two songs together and the crowd go, ah, I can't get that from acting.
Yeah, okay.
You know, so but when you DJ, you do anything like that, that feeling is real. And that energy that I get from doing that is like rejuvenating. It's like that's the stuff my batteries are really made of, you know what I'm saying? So I do it for I do all these different things for therapy.
Yeah.
Because I really do commit to my roles, you know what I mean, in a way that my body doesn't know.
How long have you been DJing for? When did you start?
I started when I was 13.
13?
13, yeah.
On like that's actual records, right?
DJing,
that's actual old school.
I was there when sort of hip hop kind of began.
Oh, you like
hip hop was 50 years, right? So I was kind of there in the UK buying records, the first hip hop records, like, yo, what is this sound? Yeah.
What were your decks? Were you like SL1200s? What were you using back then?
No, man.
No?
Citronic belt drive.
Oh my goodness.
You know, with the
oh my goodness. That's where you have to let the vinyl go at the right speed. Otherwise, it's like, I love it when you call me Big Papa. You gotta be so careful with those when you let them go.
Oh, man. And the needle's like really light.
It's always ready to skip. Always ready. Did you ever play gigs where you would put the you put the needle on the record, and then someone bumps something, or the crowd like jumps, and then you playing, it's going well, everyone's having a good time. Jump around, jump, jump around, and the crowd looks at you like you did it now because oh man, those were the days. Those were really the days.
I forgot you DJ'd. You told me. How long have you been DJing?
So I DJ'd for I started straight after high school. I was making music on a PC, so I was playing with everything from mixing the music to Fruity Loops and Pro Tools and trying to play around with that stuff. A friend saw me doing it. He said, "Yo, you should come and DJ for people." I was like, "I don't do that." He said, "No, you do. Just come and do it." And I would sit there. When I tell you I was the biggest nerd, I would come there with a full PC rig, because it's not sexy like now with a laptop and you've got your
PC.
I'm talking like a full on. You remember like that cream colored screen,
with the big plastic,
the big box.
Yeah,
I'd come there looking like I'm about to set up somebody's network. I'd put that stuff down. This is in the hood, by the way, proper in the hood, and people are looking at me, and people would come and be like, "Sorry, sir, who's the DJ?" And I'm like, "I'm the DJ." And they go, where's your turntable? I said, "No, I use a computer." And they're like, "For music?" And I was like, "Yeah." And you could see their faces go like, "Oh, this is not going to end well. This is not going to end well." And then I would play, that was me. And I would just sit there mixing songs for like 6 hours live.
Really?
Yeah, because you could have that much music. And I would play everything. You'd start off with like, I'd start off with like slow BPMs. I'd be in like the 70s, 80s, warming things up. It'd be like Jagged Edge and all of that. Get to like 94 BPM, move things up.
Okay.
Yeah, and then at some point I'd like warm it up. We get to like hip hop. Midnight we'd start playing house. Yeah. Try and get to like 120 BPM, get people moving. And then you bring it back down on the other side. I loved it.
What was your DJ name?
I never got one.
Okay.
What was yours? Knuckles? Nick?
Nah, so it started off as... my mom gave me this one.
Your mom gave you a DJ name?
Yeah. It was Idrico.
Oh, that's not bad, actually.
Idrico?
That's not bad.
Really?
I don't think that's bad.
Because I used to play for my parents whenever they had parties. Yeah, and I play a record. Idrico!
I don't think that's bad at all. I thought you were going to be like DJ Cute Boy.
No.
DJ My Special Child. I thought it would be something, like I don't think of an African mom, but Idrico's dope.
Idrico was the first one, and then it went from that to Kipling, Mr. Kipling.
Ah, Mr. Kipling.
Yeah, Mr. Kipling.
I like that.
Kippers.
What, do you have one now?
No, it's just Idris.
Just Idris is a nice one.
No, just Idris.
Yeah, Just Idris is a great DJ name. It's Just Idris on the decks. I like that.
No. Idris. You're saying just Idris, just saying.
Yeah, Just Idris.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere, because we got more What Now after this. We got Idris, the actor, Idris, the DJ, Idris, the... I say this, and I don't say this lightly, I think the world builder. You have a statesman vibe to you, and I've seen you with people. Like you want to create, you want to build, you want to grow. Like when you look at the world you're in now, first of all, where do you see the state of Hollywood and acting and content and everything right now? Because it's definitely changing. You can't deny it. I mean, some would even argue you're the last. The last of the superstars of like the real Hollywood. It's really. It's changing. I think it's becoming a lot more niche, and you could see at the SAG Awards people talking about this. People saying, I played this role. I got to do that. This is what my dream was. This is how I am. Or I got to do this for the first time. I got to play this type of character when nobody said I could. What excites you about the industry right now, and where do you still want to see the industry grow and change?
Our industry has taken on incredible change, shape-shifting over the last, I'd say, 10 years. And it sort of began really slowly with this conversation around diversity, around our societies looking like the TV shows we were watching and seeing that it wasn't. And then peeling the onion back even further and seeing that there wasn't very much equality within it behind the scenes. So, you know, the gender debate springing into action, Me Too and all this. So over the last 10 years, we've seen an industry that's gone through, I think, a very healthy health check. You know what I mean? Checking itself. You know what I'm saying? A history that essentially rewarded people for bad behavior suddenly said enough of that in a healthy way. Okay. Alongside that, though, came this sort of interesting expansion with the digital era. Just more, you know. I mean, I come from a period where in England there was 4 or 5 channels.
Yeah.
Okay. And you watched one of those 5.
That was it.
That was it. You were lucky if you got cable or Sky TV. Okay, you were lucky. And then we're in an era now where you literally can watch anything from anywhere in the world on your phone.
Yeah.
And what that's done for our industry is expanded it, but also somehow restricted it a little bit. Because the metrics of how you get a show made now are different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I think that to your point, you know, there's niche micro
it seems like
groups that started to emerge now. So it's very rare now to have one actor be a star for an entire generation.
Yeah.
That's, you know, weirdly enough, I feel like Africa is, you know, the continent of Africa still has the opportunity to have the most incredible movie film industry in the world.
Your eyes light up when you say that.
Oh, yeah, man.
For real, your eyes.
Yeah.
I feel like you want to be at the forefront of that.
I want to be at the foundation of it. We want Trevors, we want Idrises, and we want them to be the biggest stars they can be. Because in that part of the world, we haven't had that opportunity. There's 1.4 billion people there and there's 4,000 cinemas. What? How are we getting our stories? You know, I think about our industry with a sort of opto-futurist perspective. Because as much as I've worked gladly for 30, 35 years in, you know, in America and England, I've had most incredible opportunities and career. I still think I've got more to offer when I think about Africa. You know, when we saw what happened with Black Panther and the sort of Afrofuturism world was sort of really exploding, everyone was like, whoa, what is this? This is incredible. That was a moment where you're saying, yeah, you know, albeit Marvel, but it was a moment where the world sort of stood up and was like, oh, wait a second, there's African superstars? What?
Yeah.
Wait, there's African sci-fi? What? And just imagine what that could do, you know? And it does make me excited.
What's your dream? I ask everyone on the podcast, what now? Because I find whenever I meet people, they're always at an inflection point. Something's about to happen or something has happened and now they're moving on or they're thinking of the next step. You are constantly moving towards the next step, you know, and in a really peaceful way, I might add. You know, it's always been fun to watch the way you move. You seem both grateful and also still hungry, which is a hard balance to find. So what now? What do you dream of in your world? You know, if you could wave your magic wand, what would Idris be doing for the next decade?
If I could wave my magic wand, it would be, I would be part of the African film industry's growth.
Yeah.
Seeing studios, seeing African streaming companies, seeing producers, you know, live on the international stage while bringing collaborators into the continent.
I love that.
As well as sending our stories internationally, you know? That would be, I would sit as a performer, as a director, as a producer, as a vessel in that, you know, in that dream.
I love that.
That's what I would do. I mean, you know, I really appreciate your words, man, because you said quietly, and I take that to mean humbly. You know, I'm humbly appreciative of the opportunities I have. I'm humbly respectful that I've been invited to this Investopia to come and talk about this dream, and that I could possibly raise some partnerships for it. So it's an exciting time. I'm hoping that one day you and me make a movie together.
Hey, All right.
Real talk.
All right.
I think that the world should see that.
We can play, it'll be a buddy cop movie, The Two Mandelas. Fries. I said fries. He also said fries.
What he means is fries. He's saying fries, but it's fries. That's a terrible accent.
Fries. Because Mandela never said fries. Oh, man. I can see the movie now. Two Mandelas fighting crime. We would lock you up, but we believe in freedom. So you can go. Idris Elba, Trevor Noah, Mandela Man 2. I think we could do it.
Mandela Man 2. I think we should do it. We should have a little writers.
Yo, man, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
Always.
Man.
Thanks
Anytime. What Now with Trevor Noah is produced by Spotify Studios in partnership with Day Zero Productions and Full Wealth 73. The show is executive produced by Trevor Noah, Ben Winston, Sanaz Yamin, and Jody Avagan. Our senior producer is Jess Hackle. Marina Henke is our producer. Music, mixing, and mastering by Hannes Brown. Thank you so much for listening. Join me next Thursday for another episode of What Now? Well, Dr. Carruthers, thank you for joining us on the podcast. You're a clinical psychologist.
Yes.
Just to set the scene for the conversation I wanted to have today, help me break down what you do and how it applies to ADHD.
Okay. I'm a clinical psychologist. And when you work with children and adolescents, one of the predominant disorders or mental health presentations you're going to work with is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Yeah.
And so for me, I diagnose ADHD in its 3 forms. I provide intervention and I do consultation or coaching of parents when it comes to kids. Now, my practice has taken a bit of a turn and I work a lot with adults who have just learned they had ADHD or they have it. And I'm teaching them how to manage like parenting and having a relationship and having a career while you're trying to also live a life with ADHD.
Does everyone have ADHD?
We all have characteristics, but that does not mean we meet clinical criteria for the diagnosis.
But we meet TikTok criteria.
We definitely meet TikTok criteria.
We all meet TikTok.
Everybody.
Everyone has ADHD.
Yes.
Explain the difference, because some people actually dismiss the validity of ADHD as a diagnosis. Okay. They're like, well, everyone has it.
And then some people inflate it the other way. And they go like, oh, I definitely have it. And I'll say, no, you're just disorganized.
So first of all, what is it that you have? Because there are 3 different forms.
Okay.
So there's hyperactive impulsive presentation.
Wait, hyperactive impulsive?
And what does that look like?
That looks like you are always on the go, Energizer Bunny. You keep going and going and going. You talk nonstop. You're doing 15 different projects. You are moving from one topic to the next. You're running when you should be walking. If you're a little kid, you're climbing when it's dangerous to climb. Mm-hmm. You're just acting before you think.
Can this be presented like, so I know with some people it's like the persistent tapping? Is that the hyperactive?
Okay, so that hyperactivity, okay.
Like their knee will be constantly moving, or they can't sit still in a chair for a while.
So people can be anxious and do that. People can do that to self-soothe. There can be lots of different functions of certain behaviors. So that's another thing. Like the tapping doesn't mean you have ADHD, but what you will find is that people with ADHD tend to be a little bit louder. They tend to move their bodies more. They tend to have difficulty being aware of like their bodies and that their bodies are moving. And that's sometimes it's restless energy, but you can also see that for people who have like anxiety. Then you have the inattentive presentation, which is like space cadets. You are forgetting things, you're losing things, you're drifting off into space. You're supposed to be focused on one task, and before you know it, like a bunny runs across your path and you're onto the bunny.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone should look at the bunny. I always worry about people who don't look at the bunny. If you're living your life and a bunny runs across your path and you don't look at the bunny, who are you?
Who are you?
What life are you living?
I don't know, but it's not a good one. And so you got hyperactive impulsive type, you got inattentive presentation, and then the third is the combination of all 3.
Oh, the big boss.
All 2, the big boss, which is where in some settings you're hyperactive impulsive. In those same settings, you might be inattentive. And this is when you see people really start to struggle. And you have to have disruption in social and occupational functioning. What that means is this has to be negatively impacting your relationships or it has to be causing trouble on your job occupationally, right? If you're a kid, you don't have a job, you have school. So what you see is difficulty like getting through a test or forgetting to turn the homework in even though you did the homework.
Right.
Or losing the worksheets. With my kids that I work with, I'll have them bring the book bag in and it looks like a war zone inside the book bag. But for adults, and I'll talk about myself, the house is organized, but if you open a drawer or you open the closet, it looks like
it's chaos. So I was diagnosed with ADHD. I don't know when this was. Maybe it was definitely during the pandemic.
Congratulations. Welcome.
But what happened is one of my best friends, he was going through the most, is the best way to put it. He thought he had depression, and then he thought he had something else, and then someone said he was bipolar. He went through this whole journey, and then came out on the other side of it, a almost completely different person. And then he told me, he said, "Hey man, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and this is what it means." And I was like, okay. I mean, I took it seriously, but also we're friends, so I didn't take it seriously. And then he said, "This changed my life, and I felt so emotional, and the world has never looked like." And I feel like I've wasted so many chances in life now. And I was like, "Damn, this is getting deep." I was like, "Yo, you just forget things. Calm down."
Calm down.
And he said, "No, now I take medication." And then he explained some of the symptoms to me.
Okay.
And I was like, that sounds like me. But we're so different personality-wise that I could not believe that we had the same thing. Because in my head, he was describing a personality.
And it's not a personality disorder.
Right.
They're personality disorders, mood disorders, disorders of regulation. They are not the same thing. And I also kind of want to move away from the term disorder.
Yeah.
Right? Your brain is wired to function differently in different settings. In some settings, the way that your brain functions is optimal. In other settings, it's suboptimal. And so rather than saying like, oh, we're disordered because we can't focus, well, when it comes time to solve a problem and we're down to the wire, we don't have a lot of time, your brain is willing to think creatively to problem solve.
Yeah.
But it can be depressing for you if you're in a setting where everybody seems to be able to go with the flow and go with the grain. And you're like, I am dying. I am miserable going along with this. This is driving me crazy. And nobody gets why you're so bothered. And that's what I find happens when you finally get validated or you get the diagnosis. You know, they're like, okay, I knew I wasn't crazy. This is actually boring for me. This is not the way my brain is reinforced. This is not what I'm meant to do in life. And the reason I said congratulations to you is because I think once people know what's going on with their brains, then they can like not just look at it from like a negative point of view, but almost like embrace it. Like, okay, so this explains it. And now that I know this, I've got to figure out how I work.
I'm curious because you specialize in children, and the thing about early childhood is that it's very difficult to articulate your own experience and what's going on in your brain.
Yes.
A lot of the things you describe, you're like, oh, that sounds just like a toddler.
Right.
Or that sounds like a 5-6-year-old.
Right.
So how, for parents with young children that are displaying some of these behaviors, how can they know the difference between it being like, okay, this brain is wired differently and this is just emerging childhood?
Okay, so couple different places. ADHD used to be diagnosed, you had to have the symptoms before age 6. Now we say you have to have them before age 12. There are
why do they make it
because
later?
The researchers said, I don't really know. But the researchers said with the new edition of like the manual that we use to diagnose, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders.
That's DSM, yeah?
DSM-5, that it was based on the research that people were presenting with symptoms as late as age 12. And so they wanted to make sure that they could be, I guess, more inclusive.
Okay, so before what was happening is they said, if you don't show it by 6, you don't have it. You're good.
You're good. But guess what happens at age 6? Some kids are just entering formal school.
Oh, and now you get exposed.
And then you see it.
Now you see it.
Now you get exposed.
But if you don't send your kids to preschool, and then you wait until they turn 6 for kindergarten, and then at kindergarten, it's like, this kid cannot stay in a seat. This kid is, I've walked into classrooms where I'm coaching and looking for my client, and they're under the table. And the teacher is like, okay. That's classic, right? And like, where is this kid? Oh, under the table. Okay, time to go with me, right?
Yeah.
And so your original question was, how do parents know if it's like typical behavior or behavior that is different First, as a parent, you have to know what your temperament is. Is there a mismatch between your temperament and your child's temperament? That doesn't necessarily mean that there's a problem with your child. That's number one. I think what you want to look at is how that kid interacts with other kids and what it takes to get that kid through a day. Because typically, if you have a kid who's really hyperactive, it's going to take a ton of energy and organization and routine and planning and accommodating to get this kid through the day. Whereas you may have other kids where you can say, put your shoes on, come back 5 minutes later, the shoes are on. With this kid, if you say put your shoes on and you come back, they're going to be off to the next thing. But we want to look at age.
They've stolen someone's shoes.
They've stolen somebody's shoes. They're throwing the shoes. All these things. Okay.
My record with my mom, the story that she keeps bringing up is one day I came home from school. I had no backpack and I had no shoes.
Come on.
And then my mom said to me, and my cousin always tells a story as well, because he says that day I got one of the all-time beatings. And he says he remembers like watching me going, but this could have been avoided. He was also a child, but he was like, he says he watched me and he thought to himself, but he could have avoided this. And what had happened was I came home and apparently my mom was like, where's all your stuff? And I said to her, the bag got heavy.
Put it down.
So I put it down. I literally left it on the side of the road.
Very
I put it down. To me, logical.
Yeah.
And then she said, and what happened to the shoes? And I said, the shoes were new and I didn't want to finish them. So I left them somewhere close to school so that I don't have to wear them out on the way home. Because you know, like your shoes would get worn out on the sides, right? Like we couldn't afford new shoes the same way other kids could. So I noticed kids always had like a flat heel on their shoe.
Look at how observant you are, though.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then my shoes had the slant
Yeah.
that looked terrible. So I was like, okay, if I can preserve my shoes, then I won't get laughed at as much. So I'll leave the shoes near school and then walk home barefoot. And we went back and everything was where it was, which means my plan worked technically.
Technically.
Yeah, but she couldn't understand. And my brain, I remember thinking this made sense. And
To me.
to me, it makes complete sense.
Yes.
Now, I don't have the kids, but I also have ADHD.
Right.
So I find myself very comfortable with a child
Until it's yours.
who has ADHD.
I have a question on top
go
of that.
on.
So I have a bunch of friends who are now, they were high-performing girls in school, super bright, and they're nearly 40, and they're like recently diagnosed, and it came up in postpartum.
Yeah.
Everything fell apart. And a lot of things that their therapists and the people they're working with said, we miss it in girls. We miss it in girls.
Yes.
We miss it in girls.
Yes.
I don't want to get into the gender binary
That's
and
okay.
boys and all that stuff. But, you know, the girls I see, even in my son's preschool, and they behave very differently. Even when they're energetic in a different way in how they move.
Yeah.
How do parents of girls who may not have the same presentation make sure that these girls don't go under the radar for a long time and maybe never get diagnosed? What are you seeing in girls as children?
So that story that I told you about the kid under the desk was a girl. And for girls, unless their behaviors are so hyperactive that it is like really problematic, girls tend to fly under the radar, I think, because of confirmation bias. We expect that boys are going to be more likely to struggle with attention and focus, or we'll say like, oh, it's part of being a boy. But then if it goes too far, it's like, okay, well, then we probably need to look at this boy. I think a lot of girls present as inattentive initially, and people miss inattention. Or the girls that get caught are the girls who are super talkative, super busy, super on the go. And so for girls, you can meet those 6 out of 9 criteria for hyperactivity. But if it's not at a level comparatively to like a boy who's hyperactive or another girl who's super hyperactive, you could get missed. It's like based on like our cultural expectations for girls' behavior, for boys' behaviors, which make it tough.
But there are girls who are struggling.
Absolutely.
But what would you look for, I guess?
I think you would look for how the girl is doing in friendships.
In friendships?
Are they making friends? Are they sustaining friendships?
Whoa, wait. Let's break this down.
Yes.
Why is that one of the signifiers of potentially having ADHD?
Because children with ADHD are most likely to struggle in social relationships. They're going to be the last to be picked to be on teams. And we've got research for this.
Wow.
What happens is they stay little and people developmentally move on. So it's a lot of fun to have a hyperactive friend when you're 3 or 4. When you're 9, 10, not so much. Okay? If we're 3 or 4 and you're breaking the rules and you're running, it's like, haha, fun. This is so much fun. I'm going to follow you. I'm going to play. But by the time we get to playing like the video games, or we get to like there's a sport and you got to be really agile physically, that's another thing that kind of tends to co-occur for people with ADHD is physically when it comes to sports and activities, they don't necessarily excel in some of those because coordination, right? So you may be more likely to be clumsy. And so you need a lot of input. Yeah. Like if you're playing baseball, you got to stop, you got to watch. That can be really boring for a kid. Soccer, for a kid with ADHD, you out there you out there.
Yeah, there's moments where they're just watching, nothing's happening.
They're picking the flowers out of the dandelions. Right? A basketball team, we got to get you to be able to look and follow cues. And so your social functioning is major when you have ADHD. And so if you have a girl or a boy and you're worried about them and wondering, look at their social functioning. How are they doing with friends and on sports and activities? Then academically, talk to the teacher about what's happening in the classroom. Is the kid able to sit in a chair or do they stand the whole day? When you put the kid under timed pressure, do they do poorer or better finishing an assignment? Is this kid likely to stay on task, like to do the assignment until it's done, or do you have to give constant reminders? Think about it at home. How long does it take to wake the kid up? How long does it take for the kid to get dressed? Does the kid lose things? Can they follow a routine without a constant reminder? And it takes a lot of like external stuff to be able to get them to that point where they can. So it's possible, but you're going to have reminders everywhere. So like for me, last 2 days I've been in New York, I've decided not to really set my alarm, which is not a good idea. But I like winged it and I made it, but I made it down to the wire. That's another thing. Wait till the last minute.
Oh yeah, that's classic ADHD. Yeah,
Trevor.
That's completely.
I can do this in 8 minutes.
Yeah, it's time blindness.
Time blindness.
It's completely time.
Yeah.
You know what I'd love to do is break down each part to help us understand the whys behind it. Because I think a lot of people will, recognize this stuff, right?
Yeah.
They'll go like, oh yeah, that's me. I can't wake up, or I'm late, or help us understand the why. So why is it hard to wake up if you have ADHD?
And you likely don't have great sleep hygiene. You know you should go to bed at 8 o'clock, but you really want to watch that show and you get fixated on that show.
Let's go down that rabbit hole. Why do you not go to bed then?
Because your brain is like, but I could just watch this one episode and it won't be that bad. And then you get hooked on the episode and you're like, but now I want to watch another. Or you're like, I want to read this book and my brain isn't tired yet. So I'm going to read a few chapters of this book. Like I need my brain to be exhausted to fall asleep and stay asleep.
Okay, but then why is your brain wanting to do another episode?
Because your brain is reinforced by dopamine.
Okay.
What is happening with ADHD is your brain functions differently.
Okay.
And so the dopamine or the reward centers of the brain need a lot of input for reinforcement.
Okay, and what's happening with a regular brain?
With the regular brain,
what I like to call an office brain.
An office.
Yeah, I don't call it the disorder. I call it
office.
I call it a non-office brain.
And
I call it an
brain
office
is
brain.
like,
tell us what office brain people do.
Office brain people are reinforced by being in the office and getting their work done.
Okay, when an office brain person wakes up,
task-oriented.
They wake up easily because
they probably
have to wake
better,
up?
They're probably more organized and have better sleep hygiene.
Yeah.
They're routine and structured. So they go to bed, they have a routine.
Yeah.
They sleep while they're in bed.
And their brain's giving them dopamine for doing that.
Yeah, I don't know that it's giving them dopamine, but their brains and bodies are reinforced by having that 8 hours of sleep. They know they need it to function. It really helps them to get through the day. It makes them feel comfortable and secure. And so they prioritize it. For a person with ADHD, sleep isn't necessarily a priority. Getting stuff done and having fun is a priority. Like doing as much as you can in a day is a priority. Like being able to multitask, even though you might not be good at it, that's the priority. That's what's reinforcing. Like usually I have to get up at 6:10 to wake my son up, but hey, got somebody waking him up because I'm not there.
So you switch your schedule.
So I switched my alarm back 30 minutes. And before I left Atlanta, one day I decided I'll just take him to school. Forget getting on the school bus, right? That's me deciding I'm not going to engage in routine because I just decided I didn't want to. But I am training my child to respond to an alarm. And so I was still in the bed and got a knock on my door. And my child is like, it is 6:30. And I was like, oh, I was going to take you to school today. And he's like, I'm dressed. And I was like, okay, you can get on the bus.
So, okay. So it sounds like to me, you have ADHD.
Absolutely. But I was like, good. Look at me. I'm making excuses. So in school, I don't think my teachers would have complained about me. I just talked. And I had to doodle.
Did you know when you got into clinical psychology? Did you know by that time, or did you know afterwards?
I'm Black, and when I got into my clinical psychology program, I had never been to therapy. All of my white colleagues, most of them had been to therapy before. They had seen psychologists. So I decided to do this sight unseen. I never went to therapy, or nobody in my family went to therapy.
Yeah.
Like, we don't
you
do
just
this.
pray.
You pray.
I mean, that's what we did.
And you say, it's nothing wrong with that girl. Ain't nothing wrong with him.
No,
like,
we just going to pray.
We're going to pray. Like, get out of here. You don't have no problems. We got problems. Like, like that's how it goes.
Yeah.
So like when I went to grad school, I used to take copious notes so that I could focus. And then I would doodle. And then in undergrad, I remember getting called out by a professor because they knew I was doodling, which is pretty embarrassing at the collegiate level to get called out for doodling. Like, I'm in college. Like, this is not 5th grade. But I got called out. But I've always just figured out how to make it work.
Because there's like different cultural expectations, right?
Yes. And my grades were high.
Yeah.
I got everything done. But I just know that there's a book that talks about ADHD and functioning, and they talk about like brain glitches. And one of the glitches is go ahead and forget it. Like, go ahead. You're going to have enough time later. Go ahead and do what you want. You're going to be able to cram that in.
Oh, yes. I call that now and not now.
Talk
That's
about
all that
that.
is.
What is that?
So for an ADHD brain, there are only 2 modes. There is now and there is not now. Okay?
Okay.
So when I meet other people, I'm always really impressed and fascinated by how they are able to see time laid out in a more gradual fashion. So somebody says to me, let's say it's now like 5 p.m. and they go, dinner's at 8. In my head, what I've heard is dinner is not now. Okay. Then at like 6:30, they'll start like dressing. They'll go, all right, I'm going to go get dressed. And I'll say to my friend, I'll be like, you're getting dressed? Why? They go, so we can go to dinner. Then I go, wait, what's the time? They go, it's 6:30. And they're like, Sizwe, I have Sizwe on the podcast all the time. He's like the antithesis of ADHD. He is the furthest thing possible. So he'll start getting dressed at like 6 p.m. or 6:30. Dinner's at 8.
Yes.
And then I go, but dinner's at 8, Sizwe. And he's like, yeah. So I'm going to get dressed now. And I go like, oh, but that's not now. Like, dinner's not now.
You could do so many other things now.
My brain is going, I mean, I could watch a movie.
Yeah.
I could watch a few episodes of a TV show. I could read something. This makes no sense. Because how long does dressing take? Dressing takes approximately 6 minutes.
Yes.
Right? It's like 6 minutes to get your whole outfit together.
Yes.
That's what I'm
Plus
going
or
with.
minus 30.
You know what I mean? It's like 6 minutes, you put your things on.
Right.
And then I'm like, and then what? To get out of the door, that doesn't even take time. That's like 70 seconds at best. And then when you're in the car, what does Google say? Oh, 11 minutes. Okay, so it's going to take 11 minutes to get to the place. So if we combine all of this time, 27 minutes is what I need. And I'll be, this is what my brain says. Sit on the couch, 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 sit on the couch. Then at some point, I even get anxious or I get annoyed that the time is not happening. So I'll look down and go, what's the time now? 7:15. Now I have to wait 15 minutes before I can start doing stuff. And I'll sit with that. And look at it and look at it and look at it. And then finally at 7:30, I'll wait for that 3 minutes because I know I need 27 minutes. I'll wait for the 3 minutes. I'll be like, all right, time to go. And then like my phone will ring. And then that now has thrown off everything because someone phoned me for like 4 minutes.
Now you're back.
You've just killed my 27-minute plan.
Yeah.
And then now I'm not running it.
And then you're going to be like...
Because it's not now. That's the thing.
It's not
and like, I think that's why I say like with kids, part of it is because I don't take things that seriously. But when I talk to people's kids who have this, I articulate it to their parents with them because I go, no, I know you're making it serious. And a lot of parents of ADHD children feel like their kids really undermine them.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's like the biggest thing.
Defiance. It feels like defiance.
But it also feels like prank defiance.
Yeah.
Because think about it. You send a child into another room. Just think of it from a parent's perspective. Please go into your room.
Yes.
And put on your jacket and put on your shoes. We're leaving. We're leaving in 10 minutes. The kid goes into the room. 15 minutes later, you're like, where's the kid? You go to the room.
Shooting hoops, playing something.
They do not have the jacket on. They don't have the shoes on.
No.
They have books on the bed that they've opened up.
Yes.
They've started reading something. They've started building Lego. And you're going, what are you doing? And the child looks at you and goes, what? And you're like, your jacket. And they're like, what? And you're like, what do you, I just need you. And I see how many parents, because it feels like you're being undermined. It feels like somebody, please go and grab something for me. They never come back.
Yeah.
You know? And so I love that you're saying that thing of like the brain glitching, because I think people take that for granted. And I also understand a lot of people are just like, this is bullshit. Come on. There's no way your brain works like that.
It's absolutely not bullshit. If you've got a kid with ADHD or you have ADHD, you've got to do one thing at a time. You give one command in the room where you want it to occur. You wait for the person to start, so then you can reinforce the fact that they're starting. Thank you for listening. Because you're trying to get them to listen to you.
Oh, I love this. Wait, so let's play the scenario out.
Yes.
You want the best result for your kid and from your kid.
Yes. Or from your partner, who might have ADHD.
Okay. Oh, I like. We'll get to that. Actually,
yes,
we're gonna get to that.
Speak about the partners.
No, we're gonna get to that. So we start with the kids. So you're in the room.
Yes.
Or you want something to happen. You want your kid to make their bed.
Absolutely.
Okay. You don't tell them to make their bed from the living room. You're saying you go with them.
You're supposed to go with them. And nobody has time for that. That's our issue, right? We don't have time to go. I need you to go to your bedroom and make your bed. Actually, you go to the setting where you want the behavior to occur.
Okay.
In order to increase the chances that the behavior will occur. So ABC, antecedent, behavior, consequence. Antecedent, we're going to go to the kid's room. We're going to say, if you're going to give some information, you give it now. I need you to make your bed. The room's a mess. You don't have to throw in the room's a mess, but I need you to make your bed.
I'm going to throw in the room's a mess.
The room's a mess. I need you to make your bed. Please make your bed. And you can say please because it models a social skill. Being polite when you make a command. And it's not a question. It's not like, are we ready to clean up the room? It's like a question. No, it's a command. So this is not gentle parenting where it's like, oh, I'm being nice to the kid for the sake of being nice.
Okay.
Got it? There's a difference. So please make the bed. You wait, you say nothing. The kid starts to make the bed. Great job listening. I'll be back in 2 minutes. You think you could get this done in 2 minutes? Like make it a little game. Kid's like, yeah, I got this in 2 minutes. You go.
Oh, I like that. Make it a game.
Make it a game. Gamifying tasks that are non-desirable or non-reinforcing is a big thing for people with ADHD. You set that timer, you see if you can beat it. So back to the kid. We want something done. We have to do the command in the setting where we want it done. If you do it from afar with multiple parts, they're going to lose it. They're just going to lose the task because their brain is not wired to keep up with multiple tasks at a time.
I'm really curious because you said I'm black.
Yes, sorry.
Said I'm black.
I'm not sorry I'm black, but I am black.
Yes. Your focus is children.
Yes.
And we know that black children, minority children
Yes.
in this country tend to be really underdiagnosed.
Yes.
And as a result, they're often expelled. It's like, that's a bad kid. And we know about the school to prison pipeline. And there's something, I can't remember the statistic about how many people in the prison system actually have ADHD, right?
I think it's 60 to 70%.
Yeah, it's like a huge swath of like black men in this country who were once black boys with ADHD who were never diagnosed. And because of, historical and social factors, so you're a bad kid.
Systemic racism. Yep.
So we're in this kind of very negative loop that becomes multi-generational because I think culturally, sometimes we don't have the words. Someone's anxious, they may say my nerves is bad. They're not going to say that like I have anxiety.
Yes.
So there's none of the cultural language. So I'm wondering like, what can we do for those children around us where they actually have internalized the idea that they are bad. The school is saying that they're a bad kid and they're on that expulsion track. How do we get them out of that? Because it seems that once you're on that track,
it's hard to get off. I think the first thing, and this is like what I've learned as a behavioral psychologist, is we don't discuss like children's traits, characteristics. We talk about the behavior. Right? So we're externalizing a behavior from a kid. So it's not that you're bad because you won't sit down and listen. It's because it's hard for you to sit still. You have difficulty sitting still for long periods of time. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It's just better for you to be able to move around. So getting parents to see behaviors as behaviors and not as children's personality or what they're going to be when they grow up. The other thing that we've got to be really aware of is like messages that get passed down through generations and through families that can be really kind of negative. And trying to like compare kids to people around them who we think that they're like, and we have all this anxiety and this angst and this worry about whether or not our boys are going to be okay or what the future is going to hold. And so we want them to like conform to all of these like behaviors that are going to ensure that they're successful. And now we're learning that there's no perfect recipe.
I mean, look at him.
Come on. There is no recipe for this. But for Black people, it's like, well, if there's no recipe, if you can't just be good and go to college and get a good job, what do we do now? And we're learning that that's not necessarily the recipe.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the recipe that's kind of been pushed, which is why I think a lot, and if systems around you, I hate to go here, but whatever. If systems around you are built so that you don't succeed, then you gotta wonder if people are gonna be more likely to blow you off and dismiss you for any difference, rather than looking at it as like a positive or saying, this is my kid who likes to talk in the classroom, so I'm gonna have him stand up and explain to the class what I just said in his terminology.
Interesting.
If this is my kid who likes to beat on the table, then I'm going to say, if you all get through this assignment, I'm going to let you come up with a beat on the table and the rest of you all dance. If this is my kid who likes to challenge and question, then let's have a debate about this subject. But you got to care. And you got to believe that this type of behavior is functional. Right? You've got to believe that there's functionality to being busy. There's functionality to thinking outside of the box. There's functionality to like thinking. And many systems aren't set up for that.
We're going to continue this conversation right after this short break. I'll often say to my friend, I say it half joking, but I do believe it. I go, ADHD isn't necessarily a problem. ADHD is just like the enemy of capitalism. I truly believe this. And what I mean by that is, if you think of how ADHD presents, most of the things that ADHD presents, they're like sort of bad for a factory worker.
Absolutely.
I joke and I call people office thinkers, but I know some of my friends love organizing and being quiet and reading and looking at lists and putting numbers together. Good for you. Good for you. But you have to admit that the world has also been designed that way.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So the world is great for people who wake up early.
Yes.
The world is great for people who wish to sit in a cubicle. But what does the world do for you if you do want to talk, or if you do want to run, or if you want to jump, or if you want to... Now, luckily, there's some outlets, like for instance, in the same way that prison, athletes over-index for ADHD.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot.
How do they train?
No, but that's...
No, that's what reinforces
That's what
Their
reinforces
hyper-focus,
them. Yes.
Their hyper-focus is their sport. So I'm internally motivated to do this activity that I love, this athletic. And so I can do it for hours. I can train for hours. I'm around my people who also love it. I'm so reinforced by it that I just want to be in this setting.
Interesting.
And I can perform and I can excel.
It does two things that I've seen firsthand. Is like, number one, it's routine and it's rhythm, right? But it's also not boring routine and rhythm.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's high intensity. Someone's throwing a ball at your face. This is not like if you read a textbook and you miss a line, you're not walking out with a black eye. Do you know what I'm saying?
Trevor, normally I agree with you when you say stuff about like capitalism and office workers about an ADHD brain. I'm with you on that. But I think that ADHD brain can make you a bad partner, like in a relationship.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, imagine you didn't even have a job and you have all the money in the world.
Oh, that's what I disagree with.
Your wife is saying to you, I need you to pick up the dry cleaning.
But you know what's interesting about the athletes, before we move on to relationships, is a lot of athletes don't know that they have ADHD. That's what I've realized as well, because especially in America, like sports started at such a young
Little
age.
Leagues,
So
you're in there.
They just know that they excel, right? A lot of them don't even realize that it's their ADHD brain that makes them excel. So they're able to think of multiple plays at the same time on the court. They're noticing small...
It's a level of genius.
It is a level of genius.
For sure.
But they never get diagnosed and they never present it.
But maybe in their personal lives, though. That's why I mentioned the partner thing. Tom Brady. I'm not saying he has ADHD, but like but his life kind of fell apart when he retired, right?
Yeah.
And then he has to go back to the thing, and then
look, you never know. You never know with anyone.
But
that's what I mean is like, but I think also for even in those situations, like you listen to some of the top performing athletes, the ones who have I would say like the most rigid routines are generally the ones who do the best, because even in their personal lives, their meals are at a time with the family.
Up at 5.
They have this.
Every
so the
day.
family has to also fit into the schedule because the schedule is so intense.
So then that to me goes to the conversation about partners, right? So the athlete is hyper-focused in doing what they have to do to maximize what their bodies can do, maximize their amount of time. But then that is one part of your life.
Yeah.
And you miss out on the other parts of your life that are kind of orbiting around that.
That's your livelihood. That's not your life.
It's your livelihood, but for many of them, it's their life.
Yeah, it is their life.
It's where
it's been their life.
It's been their life. It's finally where they feel secure and productive, and they may not have, and it is a way out of poverty. It's a way out. It's a way to help family. It serves so many functions. But when it comes time to being a partner of a person, you've got to be able to be empathic and to understand what it is you need and what it is your partner needs. And so can you give me an example about what might make it hard to be in partnership with somebody with ADHD?
I don't want to look at it strictly through a heterosexual lens, but I think domestic labor is something most couples, whatever you are, struggle with.
Yes.
Who does the washing up?
Yeah.
Who gets the laundry? Who's cooking today? Who's cleaning? Like, the house needs to be a certain way. And when you have children, that's even compounded, right? For the most part, women take on a lot of domestic labor. We talk about the mental load all the time. It's women doing that. And I speak to a lot of friends whose husbands have ADHD. And they're like, we're already dealing with the gender differences that come up where I'm doing a lot of the domestic labor. But this man is also forgetful, but he's not being an asshole. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes there's this idea that, like, you know, the lazy man is like, he's struggling. He genuinely forgot to take out the trash, even though I can smell it. Right? It stinks. He forgot to take out the trash. He didn't make the bed. He didn't pick up the dry cleaning. I organized the cleaner. You forgot to get the cash to pay the cleaner. Do you know what I mean? And like, that can cause a lot of tension in relationships. And then you think that person dislikes you. Because I think when you're in love with someone, it's like, if you love me, you'll do this thing for me. But they're incapable of doing it.
But love is not transactional.
Well, for some people it is.
Okay, so that's one thing. So if love is transactional, then you need to know what the currency is.
Yeah.
My currency and your currency is going to be different. Your currency is going to be organization.
Yeah.
You are going to be able to, like, make sure the kids have the schedule, make sure that the cleaner is scheduled, make sure that we know what day the trash goes out, we know how much money is in the bank account. The other person's currency may be like fun stuff, and it can be hard when you are the person of the currency of responsibility, and the other person seems like gets to do the fun stuff. But it's like making sure that you all are having family outings. The person who has relationships with everybody in the neighborhood, that might be the person who's able to make sure that they check in with the family to make sure that you all are going to have a family vacation. So it may seem like one person is like day to day, like what's happening right here on the ground. The other person may be bird's eye view. And I think you've got to know what your strengths and weaknesses are in the couple. So if you are the partner of a person with ADHD and you know that money management is not their thing, then we don't want to put all money responsibilities on them. We want to make sure that they're knowledgeable, but we may say, hey, so we have a system and there's a budget. Your budget is this. We have a credit card that is set to this amount. And once that amount is over, we're done. There's going to be some tension there, but you're helping that person to structure. But then you're also reinforcing them by saying, like, look, since we were able to stay within our budget, we have this much more to take that vacation you wanted. You wanted to plan this great vacation.
This could go either way, because there's a lot of wives who have the ADHD and the husband does like it.
It can go either way, but I think really you've got to be honest about who you are.
You know, this is something that I know, like, I've struggled with. You know, after being diagnosed with ADHD, I then went back and I was like, oh, wow. Half of the issues I had in my relationships were from ADHD. And then 90% of the issues I had with my mom was just ADHD. Yeah. Just me realizing, I was never quote unquote naughty. My brain was just trying to be stimulated. I wanted to see what would happen if I threw rocks at all the windows at the houses in the neighborhood. And I know now as an adult, now the logic has caught up to it, but I still think it's an exciting endeavor, right?
It's fun.
But how do you find the difference between being incompatible / an asshole and, oh no, this is the person's ADHD? Because I can understand in anyone's defense who's with someone who has ADHD, to your point, they might just be ignoring your requests, and they might not be. But then there's a person with ADHD who's going like, damn, I really, really, really didn't want to forget that. And I really didn't want to be late for dinner. And I really didn't want to be,
over-promising and under-delivering, which I think is another ADHD thing that could come up in relationships like that.
The biggest thing that helped me, genuinely, is now, and I give this advice to anyone who has ADHD, is I go, start with no. Changed my whole life. Start with no.
Yeah.
Let me think about it.
Everything people ask you, start with no. And you'll be shocked at how it like changes, because that's what I realize happens to ADHD people. Our brains are moving so quickly. Someone says something, we love being stimulated. And so Christiana goes, hey, can you babysit my kid this week? Yeah, I'd love to.
See?
I said it immediately.
Yes.
And then I leave the conversation, I pull out my phone, and I go, oh, this weekend I have I've got a
Welcome
gig.
to my world.
I've got a gig that I have to do, and I forgot about this thing. But now, and then you send me a text going, thank you so much for agreeing to babysit. And I'm like, damn, what do I do now?
And you think you're letting everybody down.
Yeah, now I'm like, okay, wait. I think I can do this. So wait, what time is the actual babysitting?
Yes.
Okay, from 4 to 6. My gig is at 6:30, so I could make, it's a 27-minute drive. I think I can. And now I'm back in that loop. I'm back in the 27 minutes.
Right.
And then what happens is, I disappoint you on the day because I get overwhelmed. Because the day comes, my times aren't lining up. I can't get to you on time. And then what happens to a lot of people with ADHD, I know, is there's the shame that comes with it.
Yes.
Because you were trying to do the thing for everybody. What happens is you fail everybody.
Yeah.
And because rightfully so on their side, they don't know what you were going through. And so they just go, why didn't you just tell me? Then why did you agree to do this? And
why are you so flaky? Why do you put so much on your plate?
Is this part of why people with ADHD have higher levels of depression and suicide?
Let's talk about it. Absolutely.
Is it that experience?
I think so.
Yeah, you internalize it. And I think already the research, I don't think we have a ton of it just yet, but anecdotally, I believe that many people who struggle with ADHD often have underlying anxiety and depression. For kids, anxiety and depression tend to kind of co-occur. It's hard for us to tease them apart. But what happens a lot of times is kids who, once they're medicated, or once a person is medicated for ADHD with a stimulant medication, which actually slows your brain down, then we start to see all of these anxious thoughts come up. And it's not that the medication is causing those thoughts, it's that we can hear them now. The person was so busy or so distracted that all we were focused on was their behaviors, and we didn't know what was happening in their minds.
Damn. So on the partner side, what advice would you give someone? Like, because I think, like, if I'm just being fair to everyone here, I would hate for some people to use ADHD or their diagnosis
to get out of stuff
as an excuse.
I would, I use pregnancy not to do stuff.
But you should be able to use pregnancy to get out of stuff.
No, but I'd be like,
I can't breathe.
He'd be like, can you switch on the light? I'm pregnant. The light's like, pregnant. I'm pregnant. I can use an excuse for everything.
No. Pregnancy should be used as an excuse for everything.
If you were talking to the partner who doesn't have ADHD, how would you counsel them and say, okay, this is where I think your boundary should be, or this is what I think you should look for. And then we'll move on to the partner with ADHD.
Okay, so anecdotally, what I tend to notice is that we attract opposites. A person with ADHD is typically going to attract somebody who's more structured, routine, right? It helps them. A person who's more...
All my exes could pack bags very well.
You expecting them to,
really.
Right?
Yeah. No, I didn't. They were just like...
You said it, not me.
They were just like, no, I didn't.
Did you pack my bag?
I didn't at all.
But if they did, you were happy.
No, can I tell you something? It's the opposite. I hate someone packing my bag.
Sorry to attack you.
No, I don't feel attacked. I hate someone packing my bag because then I don't know if the thing I want is in the bag.
And you don't know where stuff is.
Do not pack my bag for me. Dude, like that. You don't want to talk about
anxiety?
anxiety?
Know what that's called? Control. And that's what I was going to say. A lot of times, people who are with someone with ADHD start to get engaged in over-controlling behaviors because you are so worried about what happens when the person with ADHD forgets something. So you overcorrect.
Okay.
And then the person with ADHD becomes resentful because they think you're trying to control them. And really what you are trying to do is manage your anxiety about something being forgotten
because they forget everything.
Because they do forget everything. But they're not forgetting everything to get at you or to be annoying. It's just something that happens. But what then you may do is list out a schedule, make sure that everything is just so. And when that person doesn't comply, you lose it. When they do comply, you're happy, but what you're teaching them is not to engage in the behaviors on their own. So if I am scheduling all of your appointments, packing all of your bags, when do you have to think and when do you learn to do it yourself? Okay, so what you have to watch for if you're the partner of a person with ADHD and you don't have ADHD is that you could start to do too much. And then you start getting into this control dynamic. And then the person starts to resent you because they think you're trying to control them.
And then you resent them for doing double the work.
Yeah. Yes.
And do you know what, something you said there? Because I feel very ignorant to ADHD because I think my brain is probably wired the opposite way. When you said that piece about the control and you're doing it for them, you're saying that people with ADHD are capable of doing these things.
Absolutely.
They just need to
you just
find
need
the
a
tools.
system.
Okay. Because in my mind, I'm like, oh, you just can't do it. But they are capable.
You're capable, but it's that your system may not look like the person who's over control system.
Okay.
Your system may be, okay, when it comes to packing a bag for me, I'm going to set that bag out 3 days in advance. But guess what? An hour before it's time for me to go to the airport, I'm still rifling through that bag.
Yeah.
Because there's something I've forgotten or I decided, like I had 2 blazers and then I'm like, I don't like these blazers. Throw the blazers out. And then I'm like, well, maybe I'm going to need the blazers. Put the blazers back in. So I start to question myself. My brain is getting busy. I'm getting distracted. I'm overwhelmed. So even though I had the goal of being prepared, I still find myself struggling an hour before I'm supposed to go. So...
Because it's not now.
Yeah. Because it's not now.
It's not now.
But when it's now, I'm like, well, gotta go with what's in this bag.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yesterday I had to go buy a blazer.
So it requires I love it. It's about you.
It's about me. So I'm gonna be real with you all. I'm not gonna point fingers and not pull,
Yeah. Do you know what I think that means for the person who is not neurospicy and is wired wired in a very typical way, it requires a lot of acceptance. Because part of me is judging. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
But guess what? When you want to have fun,
who do you call?
Exactly.
Trevor.
See? Because, and if he doesn't come, you're sad. Because you're like, I'm not going to be able to push myself to have fun the way I have fun with Trevor.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
Have you ever thought about all the crazy specific jobs out there? And I mean like crazy and I mean specific. For example, did you know a company is currently hiring for a psychic in California? This is a real thing. Yeah. This job and others like it are what inspired a special part of today's episode, Next Big Opportunity, brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Every day, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million candidates with their job search, which means no matter the role or industry, they can help your business find qualified candidates fast. And when they say no matter the role or industry, they really mean it. You can see for yourself by going to ziprecruiter.com/Trevor. Christiana, I always wonder, what jobs do you think you would be good at? Like, do you think you'd be a good life coach?
No.
A good...
No.
Wow.
I wouldn't be a good life coach. No, because I would probably tell you that it's not going to go well for you. And you need someone like inspiring. I think I'm just too cynical and real to be a life coach.
I'm going to go the opposite way and I say, I think we need a few more life coaches who tell people, hey man, this is not working. Just give up.
Don't do it. This rap thing, it's not working out for you. Yeah, this rap thing.
I actually think if we had more life coaches like you, people would be in better careers and the world would be a better place and not everyone would try to go viral on TikTok.
I just be like medicine, accounting, engineering. We need more plumbers, electricians. I'm just going to tell you to do regular jobs and make some money, but the rest of the stuff, nah, not for me.
I can't believe that people are hiring psychics. Like,
if you're going to get your witch, that's word of mouth. A witch is not something you go...
I'm just like, what do you even ask in that interview? I would just sit there and I'd be like, well, you know what my questions are, aren't they?
Yeah, that's true. You know the questions.
Maybe I'm a little too close-minded, but if I was working at a company and they said, hey guys, I know things have been going bad for the past few quarters, but the good news is we've hired a psychic. I'd be like, okay. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to go on ZipRecruiter and see if there are any other companies out there who are hiring for my position.
Well, I do want to work somewhere that's open to the spirit realm, but that's a bit too open. You know what I mean?
I actually do like that. I would love to work in a company that had a psychic on staff just for the vibes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just like lunchtime vibes, you just go check in with the psychic, see how things are. I like that actually. Because we've worked in a dog office, why not have a psychic-friendly office? Well, whatever role you're looking to fill, ZipRecruiter can help. With smart matching technology and handy tools like the invite to apply feature, you'll find a potential hire in no time. ZipRecruiter is the hiring site employers prefer most, based on G2. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Try it now for free at ziprecruiter.com/Trevor. That's ziprecruiter.com/TREVOR. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. It's also difficult to try and explain to people how many fights in their relationship aren't necessarily fights, but they're a manifestation of ADHD meeting up with non-ADHD. So I didn't, until I delved into all of this, I didn't know that for an ADHD brain, for the most part, not all brains, but for most ADHD brains, arguments are fun.
Yes. Coercive cycle of interaction. There's a term for it.
Coercive cycle of interaction.
You
I love
are reinforced by your coercive behaviors. And this is what we teach in behavioral parent management training. Another plug for an evidence-based intervention for ADHD. So in behavioral parent management training, the first step is teaching parents about the coercive cycle of interaction and how their kids are reinforced to continue arguing because they eventually get what they want. And parents are reinforced to be more punitive because they eventually get what they want. So when you've done that as a child with your parent and then you get into a relationship and you're like, I can prove that I'm right. I can get you to see that the way I'm thinking is the way you should be thinking. And you just continue to engage in this spiral until you win. And the other person is pissed. Or they gave up because they're exhausted.
They're exhausted most of the time.
They're exhausted.
Because the ADHD person can keep
going a lot of times. And you'll be like, can you just stop? And they're like, no. So instead of telling them to stop, you give them the positive opposite behavior, the to-do behavior. So instead of, would you stop talking? It's, can we take a quiet moment? Can you be quiet? What do I want you to do?
Okay.
So instead of stop arguing, can we change the subject? Or sometimes you got to kind of just turn away and wait to catch them being good and then turn back. Like if you're taking me down that spiral where you're trying to argue with me, I'm going to turn away, pretend to do something else. And then the minute you get quiet, even if it's by accident, thanks, Trevor, for being quiet.
But I think sometimes people take for granted, and I'm saying this from experience, is ADHD people, we are not arguing.
Mm-hmm. And you're not an ADHD person. You are a person with a neurodivergent brain.
Okay. I think all I feel like you did there was it's like going, you're not homeless, you're unhoused. That's what you just did to me.
She said the poetic version.
You really did. You're like, no, Trevor, you are not a homeless person. You are a person who does not have a home to live in.
You are, no, seriously, it makes a difference.
Okay, fine.
You're Trevor, who happens to have a brain that is neurodivergent.
Okay, I'll take that. All right. So
sorry.
No, this is fine. So I think what people take for granted is this. And sometimes it's because we don't know to articulate it as people. Sometimes we don't even know what's happening. Some people think of it as an argument, but it's not an argument. Do you get what I'm saying? So the ADHD brain is just having fun, and it's going, let's discuss the merits of, and you just go.
It's just attention-seeking behavior.
Exactly, and you're spinning, and you're spinning, and you're spinning, and you're spinning, and you're spinning. But you're just having fun trying to figure this puzzle out. Now a non-ADHD person goes no, but what? Why you? No, just let it go.
They're
just
getting triggered. They're getting emotional.
They're getting angry. And then at the end of it, and I've seen this happen, in my group of friends, all the ADHD friends will hang out together. All the friends who have a neurodivergent brain.
Yes. Thank you for using that term.
They'll be energized at the end of a group argument and they'll go that was fun. And then all the friends who don't have a neurodivergent brain
are pissed.
They are pissed.
Yeah.
They're worn out. They're carrying it. I can't believe you said, why did we fight? You know what? I'm tired of, and the rest of us are going, wait, what? This was fantastic. This was fantastic. We argued the merits of Mesopotamian laws, and from that we understood why we shouldn't be eating fried chicken tonight. Just the understanding of it helps, because to your point, if you understand that I'm not doing something to you, then you don't think of it that way. So, some divergences, we'll call them, whatever they may be, physical or mental, are more apparent than others. Mm-hmm. If somebody's blind, we normally can see that they're blind. Yeah. If that person bumps into you, most rational human beings will never go, yo,
right.
Watch where you're going.
Yeah,
You bumped into me. You'll be like, oh man, the person's blind. Oh, person's blind. You know what I mean? If somebody rolls up in a wheelchair and they can't go up the stairs, no one goes like, get up the stairs. You go like, oh, let's get the ramp, or can we help someone? Because there's a signifier that tells us that this person is divergent physically. Mentally, there's almost no signifiers for this. So you meet someone with ADHD, you don't realize that you started speaking, their brain hadn't even started pressing the record button.
Right.
You started a whole conversation. You got home. You started talking to your partner. Oh, hey, honey, I was just thinking we got to do, and don't forget the thing. And I can't believe it's just. And then the person goes like, what? What just happened? And they're like, oh my God, did you listen to anything I just said?
And that's so annoying.
Yes, and it's not that they're not listening to you. If there was a way for you to be sick, if they could signify it, you'd realize, oh, the record button wasn't on. You hadn't paused for a moment. The same way I've seen people pull out their phones, stand at a concert and record a moment, and then I look at their phone and I realize they never pressed the record button. But then they blame themselves. They go, I didn't press record. I'm an idiot.
Yes.
And I sometimes say to people, I know it's a bit of a burden, but think of it that way when you have an ADHD partner. Ask yourself if you've pressed record. Like one of my best friends taught me this, and he has ADHD, but he literally will be talking and he'll notice that my brain I'm finishing an email. He'll say like, oh man, I got to tell you this thing that happened. So I was at the office and then he'll pause and he'll go like, I'll wait for you to finish.
Yes.
And I go, no, I'm here. He's like, no, finish the email.
Do you know, the funny thing is hearing you both speak today, I think there's something about if you're the non-ADHD parent or partner, whatever you are in relation to someone with ADHD, I think it can really increase your empathy and your sense of patience if you really sit with the diagnosis.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying right now, whether somebody has ADHD or not, to say to your partner, let me just finish what you're doing and we'll talk when you can give me your full attention, would change so many relationships. Or even dealing with your child, because sometimes you just say things to a kid, but maybe the kid is with their Legos or with their dolls or whatever.
Have you pressed record?
Yeah, have you pressed record? You haven't pressed record? Okay, we'll come back to it.
Yes.
It'll kind of just transform.
Oh, I need you to press record right now. That also helps me as well.
Yes.
Someone goes like, hey, no, can you put that down?
Yeah.
No, I need you. Then I'm like, oh, okay. You even signaling urgency helps an ADHD brain.
Absolutely.
So if you say to me if you as Cristiano you go like, oh, friend, I need your help. Immediately my brain goes like, yo, what's happening?
I love that.
What's happening? And then I focus. I won't look at my phone. I won't. But if you just tell a story and it's like the music of it doesn't signal urgency, and my brain just goes like, oh, she doesn't need me. And I don't realize my brain's doing this. I'm thinking of 4 things at the same time.
So it's how you communicate to an ADHD person. Really
make sure record has been pressed. Then you can fight with them if they're not doing the thing you hope them to do. But I promise you the difference it makes is insane. You say, I need you to listen to me right now. Or you say, let me know when you're done. And all of a sudden it just changes the dynamic that you have with somebody.
And that's the antecedent intervention. That's setting up the environment for success.
Yeah.
You saying press record or let me know when you're ready to press record signals to his brain that I've got to do something, I've got to behave differently.
Yeah.
And then he's able to follow through, and then you reinforce him because then you continue to talk to him once you know that he's ready to listen.
Okay.
Consequence is you all are connected. Okay. So what you all just did right now, there was connection there. Yeah. You gave feedback about when you're able to really hear her. And then you were like, thank you for giving me that feedback because now I know how to cue you in when I need to talk to you. And that's what doesn't happen in partnerships and relationships.
Whether it's parent to child, romantic.
Parent to child, spouse to spouse, family to family. That's what that's like a process thing. We don't take time to process things because we're so focused on moving forward and getting to the next thing. Yeah. And so to have the opportunity to say, especially to your significant other, I need you to press record, or I need you to say, hey, can you put your phone down? Because even with kids, we're accustomed to snatching a tablet, turning off a screen to get them focused. Yeah. As adults, we're just as guilty of being preoccupied with Instagram, with our screens, with our phones. And sometimes we need help to get away from those things so we can actually attend to each other. And one of the things I say to little kids that I'm working with in intervention is give me your eyes. Yeah. Thank you for looking at me. Now that I know that you're looking, I think you can listen. Please pass me that. and then we continue to maintain eye contact, it really helps them to know that I'm engaged. And so in a relationship, if you have ADHD or you don't have ADHD, I think that's a skill that we could all learn, because many of us think we have ADHD because we are so wired to screens right now. We're so reinforced with screens. We're so reinforced by multitasking. We are hearing a lot of noise, and we don't take a lot of time to be fully present and aware in this moment.
I have a question about setting up for success that I've seen a lot of parents grapple with, and it's the question of medication.
Yes.
Now, I'm a millennial, and
me too.
And I think we're like the Ritalin generation as well. And there's a lot of millennials who felt that they were over-medicated, that they look back at their childhood and they're like, I felt like a zombie. They're trying to figure out who they are without the presence of some sort of medication. And I think a consequence of that is that a lot of millennial people who are becoming parents now, who are medicated as kids, are maybe reluctant to medicate their children, do not know when they should introduce that modality. What are the ethics of it? Can you even, I struggle with giving my kids Tylenol. I'm like, is this a gateway drug to some other shit?
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so let me talk to you about that gateway drug thing. In my opinion, that is a cultural belief that comes out of the crack pandemic, right? We know that there were specific plans and things that were done to make sure that a certain group of people were destroyed by a drug. And over time, we have become very wary and suspicious, and it is healthy cultural paranoia about the use of medications and drugs. How can we get hooked? How could this ruin life for us? Because we had a whole generation that this impacted. What I want you to know when it comes to stimulant medication, any of the psychotropic medications, is consider the ways that you are self-medicating. Are you using gummies and weed just to get out of the bed or have a good time? How much alcohol are you drinking? How much are you indulging in overeating? Is this a symptom of some difficulty that you are having in your life? The medication you take for depression is not the same class of medication that we take to address ADHD. And so what you need to know is, for stimulants can be abused, and they're the same class, like they're amphetamines. Those things, amphetamines, are similar to what's in cocaine, right? It's an amphetamine as well. The difference is it's highly regulated. It's been studied. It's been studied in children, and we can pretty much tell that there's at least 30 years worth of data about people being successfully treated. One thing about stimulant medication is once it's in your system, 8 hours typically is out of your system. Unlike other classes of medication that take weeks to build up in your system.
That's like antidepressants, for instance.
It takes about 2 weeks to build up.
You can't go off of them instantly. So I'll tell you, like, one of the craziest things I learned actually made me really, really sad, because then I had to go back and think about how it affected my relationships. I have had this crippling feeling whenever I travel. Day one of any trip. I'll fly somewhere, I land there, vacation, and immediately I need to go home.
Oh, anxiety.
Immediately. And my brain's just like, I need to go home. I need to go home. What am I doing here? I need to go home. 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 So what would happen is sometimes I'd be on a trip. I would be with my partner. We're somewhere. They couldn't get me to leave the hotel room.
You couldn't relax.
They couldn't get me. And they would be like, what is going on? I was like, I think I need to go home. And I can't imagine what they were going through. But for me, I was trapped. And until I understood how dependent an ADHD brain is on routine, did I then understand what was happening. Was like, oh, because it's new place, time zones have screwed me over. I also have nothing to do, which is the most crippling thing, funny enough, for an ADHD brain. What are we doing? What do you want to do?
Right.
What do you mean, what do I want to do?
I don't know.
My brain jams. My brain, I know how to, give me a schedule that's from, 8 a.m. until midnight, I'm fine. Give me space, the brain panics, because ADHD, too many choices. And then now, literally what I'll do is, I'll only medicate most of the time when I'm traveling, first day. Because I just know for that first day, it just brings my brain down.
Wow.
I don't think about what's tomorrow, what's the next day, what am I doing on the trip? Because I would rush to the conclusion of the trip. And I know a lot of people will do that with ADHD in the now and not now, is your brain has the ability, but infinitely. So do you know how many ADHD people I'll speak to as like kids or parents or just people, and I have such empathy for them, because I go, you don't understand what you're experiencing. So you might think, for instance, you have depression, But I go, no, your depression is from ADHD. It's not just like a depression, which it could be on its own.
Yeah.
But sometimes this is what like my brain will do. And I've spoken to a lot of people who experience this. I'll wake up in the morning. I go, what time is it? Oh, it's 30 minutes before I need to get up. Okay. Should I sleep? No, maybe I'll wake up. Okay, I'll wake up. Then what do? I gotta go brush my teeth. Then I've got to shower. Then I've got to get dressed. Then I've got to leave the house. Then I've got to go to the office. Then I've got to have that meeting. Then I've got to have that next meeting. Then I've got to have that other meeting. Then I've got to do that thing. Then I've got to go to the dinner that those people have planned. Then I've got to come. Oh, then I've got to find time to work out. Then I've got to plan my outfit for the wait, then you do it the next day. Mm-hmm. You do the same thing. You brush your teeth again. Oh, you got to get clothes again. Wait, how many years does this happen for? Wait, like, so we're just going to do this for like 80 years, 90 years?
So you spiral.
We're just going to keep on doing this? And then what? The next generation does it? And then it's, well, why am I waking up? Wait, I'm going to come back to bed anyway. What's the point of leaving the bed? Why am I waking up? What are we all doing? Why are we building these things? Why are we? No, and you will be shocked at how ADHD brains can do this for everything for people. So even in a relationship, you'll have a fight, and then your brain goes, "Oh, fight! This is how, and what's the point of relationships?" End.
Yes, yeah.
Everything ends with end.
And there's typically a time of day. There's a place.
Yes.
Everybody's got one.
Yes, you're not wrong.
There's a time of day.
Ruminate and just
the rumination is, and that's an anxiety thing too. But that rumination as part of ADHD is major.
It really is.
Wow. And if it's a certain time of day, I'm a nighttime person. I can lose my mind at night.
Can I tell you? So if there's one thing I've learned for my brain, the mornings is where I have the biggest feelings of what is the point of this whole thing we're doing, right? The evenings is where I have anything can happen.
So it's like existential morning, crazy evening.
The mornings. Let me tell you something. In the mornings, can I tell you something? The worst thing you can do to me in the morning, and I've experienced this. I remember someone turned to me in the morning and said, "Hey, do you love me?" This is in the morning.
Well, do you love me?
Did you love them?
And I did. No, but I did. But my brain went,
what?
How does anyone define love? What is love?
Oh, and that pissed that. That poor person.
And what is it about my words that'll make you feel like your day got better or worse? Or
you're like, I don't know.
My brain was like, huh. And my brain did that. And in my brain, maybe this was 2 seconds, but it lasted a lifetime.
But to the person,
they went, whoa, what was that pause?
What was that pause?
And then I go, no. Of course I love you. Then they go like, no, what was that pause? And now we're in fight land. Yeah. The day just started.
We're in fight land.
Right? But we're in fight land because the person goes, I can't believe you paused. Why did you pause? Now if I explain it, it's terrible. Yeah. Well, but why would you even think that? What kind of person would think? You just say, I love you.
Message for the person with a person with ADHD is not always about you.
That's hard to learn.
That's hard because it should be always about me.
But it's not like that pause or that like reticence is not necessarily about you. It's about something that's going on in that person's head that you don't even know about.
It's not about you.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the nighttime version is, and I know this with like a lot of my ADHD friends, that's like, we call that sugar time.
What is sugar time?
Oh my God.
What is that?
It came from...
Start zooming?
No, it came from the direct thing, which was sugar. So we all start craving sugar.
Uh-huh.
Oh
I can't eat sweet things in the morning. Pancakes, or I don't know how people do that. I'm like, no, sugar cereal. Nighttime? Let me tell you something. If there is sugar hidden in your house, I will find it.
Okay.
If you think there's sugar in your house and you're not sure where it is, call me over at night and I will find that sugar for you. And then my brain then goes like, we call it sugar time because it's like it's sort of the manifestation of sugar as a concept. Is it like sugar time for everything? Then it's like, what's happening? Where's it happening?
Yeah.
Who's it happening with?
Where
are we going?
So
what are we doing?
Oh yeah. Sleep is so bad.
No, sleep is terrible.
Yeah.
Nothing good has ever happened during sleep.
No.
Tell me one great story that involved sleep. None.
What about a good dream?
History is, there's no, MLK had a dream.
But he was awake.
Okay.
He was awake. No, but he first had the dream of sleep.
He had the dream. So maybe
and then he
that's
told
the one.
dream,
that's the only great thing that's happened in sleep was his dream. The rest of history happened while people were awake. I love that you said that because it's learning yourself, being honest with yourself. And if there's one piece of advice I would give people, think of the ADHD as this little gremlin passenger in my life, who I have a fun relationship with, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't resent it.
Yes.
I don't hate it. But what I'll do is I'll call it out. Like I'll actively say, at times, you'll find, if you leave a microphone in my home, randomly you'll hear me going, hello ADHD. I just say this every now and again. I'll just be like,
Trevor, don't
there
say
you.
Because my mom's going to be like,
Yeah, your
spirit.
Yeah, my mom.
It's the spirit.
My mom actually.
I love it. Yes, spirits.
But I promise you, I do that all the time.
Yes.
Because I've also learned for people with ADHD, it's nice to remove the shame.
Yeah, for sure.
Because people will tell you the thing you're experiencing is bullshit. They'll tell you that it's not real, that you need to get over it. You just need to work just to function. People just say this to you. But it's like, no, just trust me. Take it out of yourself and say, hello, old friend.
Externalize it. Hello.
Yeah, you're just like, look at you. You want some ice cream, do you?
No ice cream for you.
You know? And then I'll even play the game. I'll be like, okay, how about this? If you have very cold water and you still want ice cream 30 minutes later, you can do it.
Ooh.
And then I'll go and drink like a cold glass of water and see what happens in 30 minutes. 90% of the time, I don't want the ice cream afterwards.
You've moved on.
Yeah, but it's also because I've started to learn. I've started to learn that sometimes the thing that you look, this is for everyone. The thing that you're craving is oftentimes a manifestation of lacking something else.
Yeah. Right.
So what I've tried to learn to do is go, what is happening right now? I'm craving ice cream. But what is ice cream? It's a cold thing. It's a sweet thing. Let me try break it down. Start with the cold.
You're a thinker.
Yeah, I'm an overthinker, yeah. So I start with the cold.
Uh-huh.
And then I go, and also what does it do? Okay, it also does hydrate me. So I'll go with something cold and hydrating that has no sugar, see how I feel. And most of the time, I find those small things, but I gamify everything in my life.
That's a problem solver too, right? So that's the ADHD brain again, the superpower. Yeah. You're a thinker, you think very deeply, and then you are willing to try different interventions to solve your problem. So you don't just give up and give in to the ice cream. And a brain that's like maybe depressed might just say, well, forget it. It's hopeless. It's worthless. I'm just going to give in to the ice cream. You're like, no, this is serving a function. I need to try to figure out what the function of this craving is. How can I come up with a plan so that I don't engage in this behavior? Like there's multiple levels. And that can be exhausting if you have to do it with every decision you make, which some people get into like analysis paralysis when it comes to that ADHD because they're overthinking whether or not, and it's not necessarily anxiety, but it's like trying to plan out the consequences.
Yes.
Because you're a problem solver.
Yes.
Yeah. And problem solvers are very tied to consequences of behavior. So it's like, well, if I did it this way, this might happen. If I did it this way, this might happen if I did it this way. And then you've lost track of time while you're doing all of that. So I think it's good, though, to be a thinker.
Yeah.
Which is also why the capitalistic society is hard, right? To bring it back.
Yeah. Why this has been so useful for me, I just think for people that are in community, with people with ADHD, whether you're a parent, a partner, a friend, it's like our job is to like understand the superpower, like understand how it works, understand if you're drinking some water late at night. Oh, they probably wanted ice cream. They're having the water. Leave them. Don't be like, why are you drinking water? A cold glass of water at 12:30 in the morning. Just be like, this is their way of coping.
And you just said a word, community.
Yeah.
We need to be in community with people and other people who have similar and dissimilar experiences because it can get very lonely.
Yeah. It sounds like a lonely
It can be
experience.
very lonely. You got to be in community. Like you got to find your tribe. And this is a big thing for me right now with the young adults I'm working with who have ADHD. It's like they have not found their tribe.
Yeah.
And then they internalize it and then they feel super depressed. Like, what is wrong with me? Why does it never work? And so I want to tell young adults with ADHD and teens with ADHD, you will find your tribe, but you have got to seek them out. And that tribe may not be the people who like look like you or who have the same interests, but the superpower of having ADHD is you're willing to put yourself out there and take a risk. And so you may have to take a risk with different people. You have a tribe, you haven't found it yet. Because you haven't found your tribe doesn't mean you'll never find your tribe. Because I also get worried about those people in terms of suicidality. Because there's the loneliness. There's the like, does anybody care about me? I can't get anything right.
What's
My
wrong with
relationship's
me?
in, what's wrong with me? And so just like having some hope and knowing you got a tribe. And then parents, leave them alone if the tribe is online. Like, they have a tribe. I just want you to have some social connections, safe social connections. I don't want you playing with like adults if you're a kid. But we need to have, that's why we have kids in sports and doing activities. We want them to build relationships with different groups of people. But as adults, once we get into our careers, we can become isolated. And so you've got to have community. You got to have a tribe. You got to have community.
Yeah.
You guys are a tribe.
Yeah, reluctantly. I love it. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Don't go anywhere, because we got more What Now after this. You know, there's an idea that I have. I'll often say to Christiana, I go, there's moments where I dream of being a dictator, of just like a small, of like a small island.
He said this enough times.
Yes.
I'm concerned.
I would love to be a dictator of a small island, though, like just a small place where, because I think the small number helps you be a little more nimble.
I'd be your advisor.
Like Sweden, for instance. I would love you as an advisor. You know, Sweden, 4 million people or whatever. It's like it's easier to do things and see how they work. 300 million people is chaos. And one of the experiments I would love to conduct, because I'm sure there will be second system effects, don't get me wrong. But I wonder what would happen. Two things. One, I wonder what would happen if we treated almost everybody who we think is an outlier in society just for ADHD. And I know this is a gross malpracticing of science and medicine, so don't co-sign this at all. I'm just telling you about my crazy world. I would love to see what would happen, no joke, if everyone who is homeless gets ADHD medication. Like people in the street, like we don't, people like, that person's crazy. I genuinely would love to see I just want to see what would happen. You give all of them ADHD medication. You give everyone in prison ADHD medication, or every kid who's been expelled, ADHD, everyone. I'm willing to bet money. Yes, there will be, please, terms and conditions apply. There's obviously going to be some people where
we
you
don't want them to be manic. If they're manic and they have
exactly.
ADHD medication, it'll go very bad.
There you go. So that's what I'm saying.
Or they have a heart problem.
Terms and conditions apply.
Right, those are terms and conditions.
Terms and conditions apply. I'm not saying, but I'm willing to bet you will see a massive amount of that population no longer have the problem. And I can't help but think to myself, how many people in our society are one intervention away, and not a massive one, by the way.
Right.
One intervention away from being fully back in society, fully part of a community, and fully being back to who they wish to be as a human being. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm from Chicago originally, and Cook County Jail at one time, the person who was in charge of the director was a clinical psychologist. And I think this was a few years back. And she did a program where she had, when people came in and they were repeat offenders, they got psych evals. As part of the psych evals, they were able to determine that many of the people who were coming through this system, through this program, actually had met criteria for diagnoses, and then they were able to get them medicated. Right? They were able to get them, or even if it wasn't medication, they were able to get them some psychotherapeutic intervention. And the types of gains that can be made from doing that type of intervention. Right? So even if you don't have an island, what will happen in terms of reform in the justice system if people had access to high quality mental health care before they got there? Right? I'm in private practice. People will ask, why don't you accept insurance? Insurance companies don't value mental health right now.
Damn.
So they're starting to understand that if we can treat depression, you're more likely to follow through on your medication regimen when it comes to hypertension, when it comes to like the diabetes, right? If you're not depressed, if I've treated your depression, you're going to be more likely to change your lifestyle factors, exercise, diet, etc. So if we address mental health first, we could actually do medicine, physiological medicine, a big service, because people would be engaged and invested in taking care of their bodies and making different choices about the way they ate, et cetera, et cetera. But it's almost like mental health care is an afterthought. And so I think there are many different avenues to actually make what you want to see happen. It could be school systems. It could be like juvenile justice systems. I just think there's ways. I don't think that's a far-fetched idea.
No,
May not be an island.
That. Yeah, I mean,
I don't think it's a far-fetched idea.
In South Africa with our foundation, the thing we did was we brought in psychiatric help to the schools because they didn't have it. And we found the results were insane. It was exponential. And here's one of the most interesting ones we learned. We learned at our foundation, just having someone to talk to improved kids' scores. You literally didn't have to fix the problem. There were kids who were coming from homes where they were neglected, they were abused, they were beaten, they were whatever it was. And we were like, what do we do? How do we fix this? And then we were humbled to realize that most of the kids weren't looking for someone to fix it. They just needed somebody to speak to. And all of a sudden their grades would improve. They just needed somebody to say, you're not crazy. Your parents aren't treating you well. Your community isn't looking after you. And yes, you're validated. And the kids' scores would go up. And you're like, come on, this is beyond basic. The other thing I think of, and you know, we've said it multiple times in this conversation, and I love how you've tied it in. There was a beautiful conversation that I had on the Daily Show with a woman who's one of the foremost like disability advocates in the US, right? So she was part of the team that was behind the Disability Rights Act in America. So people take for granted there was a time when places didn't have ramps.
Right.
Places didn't have any accessibility features at all. It was like, oh, you can't come upstairs? Tough luck.
Right.
And she said something really fantastic to me. She said, you know, the biggest arrogance and mistake people make is one, they always assume that they will never be disabled. Oof. Right? She's like, no, it can happen to you through age, through accident, through whatever it is in life. It can always, it's an opt-in service, surprisingly. And she said, you also take for granted how the idea that seems like a burden today, because you're doing it for others, is actually the thing that's going to help you. So they designed ramps at supermarkets for people with disabilities. Do you know who uses ramps more than anyone now? Is people who are fully able-bodied and have found it's an easier way to roll things up and down into a supermarket.
I'm always with my with my stroller.
Yes.
Ramps are game changers for me. I can take all three kids into a supermarket because there's a ramp.
Because there's a ramp.
And then you go, thank you, disability advocates.
See?
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All the things, and it's like, it seems, and I think of it, let's go through everything we discussed today. We start with the kids, right? You go, everything you're talking about for an ADHD kid, if we learned how to implement those systems for ADHD kids, other kids benefit.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you make a classroom more engaging?
Yeah.
How do you talk to your child? How do you engage with your child? How do you empathize with them? You apply that to a non-ADHD brain, it's still going to be rewarded. Yeah. It's still going to reward you. The things that you said about athletes and finding purpose on the other side of life and the pivot. Yeah, that's great for ADHD, but you know who's also great for? Everyone else. People are going to switch careers. People are going to change what they're doing in life. People are going to find themselves a little unmoored. And this is the same thing. All of a sudden, you found a path. You go to relationships. Yes, your partner might have ADHD. And so it helps to say, hey, are you listening to me? Or I need you to listen right now. Or actually, hey, I noticed you're in your trigger right now. Go relax, go sleep. Let's not do this now because you're going to You know who that also helps? People in normal relationships. It's just ADHD is the most acute example I find. And it's also the most obvious at times. But I think like if we solve the world for ADHD people, it solves the world for everyone. We're almost like the canaries in the coal mine, I think, where I genuinely think we are.
You're showing like the sickness in, I think.
Let me tell you something now. I'll tell you now. If a kid thinks it's boring, they're right.
Absolutely.
Do you know? Because people be like, kids can't pay attention. Yo, kids can play 18 hours of Fortnite.
They can definitely pay. I took my son to a dinner. And we were like 45 minutes through, and he said, how do you guys listen so long? I was like, 10 more minutes and we out. And he was right. Like, it was just going on and on and on. And it was like, yes, we don't have to do all of this.
Yes. Do you know where I was never bored as a kid?
Where?
You know where I was never bored? Black church.
Yes.
Never.
So much happening.
Because someone would be like, no, it's about listening. Yo, when we would go to white church, it was just, all right, here we go. John 3 verse 16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever loved him doesn't perish but have eternal life. I was like, oh, Black church, I don't care if you were 4 years old or 40 years old. That pastor made that sermon come alive.
Call and response.
Exactly.
You're engaging. Yeah.
You're engaged.
You're standing up.
You're standing. You're in the. And even as a child, I was like, yes, in Jesus' name.
Praise the Lord.
I was like, wow, what is? I might not understand all these concepts, but I'm you.
Yeah. And my kid says, "What is happening?" Like
yes.
to go down. Then I'm like, "Hey."
And the pastor will like repeat something.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you heard me.
I'm gonna say it again.
I'm gonna say it again.
Right.
I'm going to say it again.
Because he knows we have ADHD.
You see what I mean? But no, that works for the whole congregation. And so I feel like in these things, sometimes people, I can understand if you don't have ADHD, you're going like, this silly sounding, because it really sounds like a little quirky little, disorder that people have.
Everyone has ADHD. That's the response.
Good everybody does not.
I also struggle to get out of bed. Get over it. You think I like The Office? Get over it. Oh, please, you can't pack your suit. Get over it. I understand where you're coming from. But mark my words, if you listen to ADHD people and you quote unquote fix the world for them, you will live in a better world.
I grew up someplace that was not quite as loud at night, but our brains can exist in
this. I think they can. And I think sometimes if you take that, so I'll challenge my friends who are parents of ADHD kids and I'll say this to them. I'll go, and I go, please, I say this with all the compassion in my heart, because I know you're busy, I know you're tired, I know all of I'm not saying you're not. And even a person who's in a relationship with someone with ADHD, I know it's annoying. I know how much you hate repeating yourself. I know how much you feel like you're, going through the same cycle of, I say all of those caveats. But you'll be shocked at how much fun you can have and how much it can benefit you to take it as a fun challenge. So for instance, I say to parents of ADHD kids, sometimes your child with ADHD who's like climbing on the couch and then like standing on a thing and then doing somersaults in the living, you know what they might actually expose for you if you're willing to listen to it? They might show you how little you move. Ooh. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you're living a sedentary lifestyle. You barely move. You sit at the office, you sit in your car, and then you sit at home. Now, another child is able to mold themselves to match what you're doing. An ADHD kid cannot. They need to get the thing out of their body.
Wiggles, as you call
it. It's pent up energy. But now they're exposing it. Like you go like, this kid can never sit still. But sometimes you should ask yourself, go like, I've noticed that we sit still quite a lot.
Yes.
Like look at that as a challenge and go like, okay, every time they do that, do 20 squats with them. Ooh. Do jumping jacks with them for a minute.
Oh my God, I'd be so exhausted.
Yes, exactly. But this is
you're already in good shape, but you would be
this
like.
This is my point. This is exactly my point. Is that sometimes you can find things that you've taken for granted that can actually help you as well, and that like the gamification can go both ways. Is what I'm saying. But it's like solve the world for others and solve the world for yourself.
I love it.
That's a beautiful reframe.
Yeah.
This has been so much fun.
It was so much fun. Thank you all.
I hope we have you back again. And by the way, thank you for being a bridge as well. I think, as you said, like I'm Black. People just take for granted how culturally, certain cultures are going to catch up to certain ideas in different ways, right? And I remember when I was diagnosed, my first time actually was when I was diagnosed with ADD. Back then they just called it
attention deficit disorder. When it was just ADD.
In fact, no. Back then they called it hyperactivity. That's all they called it.
Okay, so that was like.
I was like 6 or 5.
So you know what it probably was the ICD-10, which is the international system.
Probably.
Was calling it one thing. And then the United States system was calling it ADD.
Right.
And so now they try to be on the same page.
So they said to me, they said to my mom, so the school said to my mom, I guess they did a good job. They said, hey, you need to take this kid for evaluation. He's very smart, but he's chaos. But he's not rude. He's not anything. He's just chaos though. And she took me in and they told her that. And when we came out, my mom said, I said, what did they say? And my mom said, Suga, these people, they said you are hyperactive. I said, yes, he's a child. And they said, no, but he's very hyperactive. And I said, so what do we do? And she said, honey, we pray. We pray, honey.
Let's move on.
And I said, but we've been praying. And she said, I said, but we've been praying and it hasn't worked. And she said, yes, sweetie. And that's then once the praying doesn't work, then that's what the beatings are for. Then she said, we'll beat it out of you, my child. Don't worry. And you know what was my favorite thing is she made it seem like it was going to be a team effort. My mom didn't make it seem like I was going to get beaten.
She was like, you're going to be so afraid of it.
She was like, honey, not even a threat. She made it like, honey, you know what, baby? We're going to beat this thing. we will take a stick and we will beat this thing out of you, baby. We're not going to let it win. And I'm there like, this sounds like a team talk. But I'm the one who's going to be beaten in this team talk. Right. But no, the reason I say thank you for bridging the gap is because it doesn't matter, Black, Latino, you name it. Do you know how many of my Asian friends have told me in a different way? They've had like it's not the spiritual one. Their one is like no, suck it up, keep moving vibe.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, but my brain. No. What do you mean your brain? Hey.
You make it work. You make it act right.
I think it would be great for us to find those bridges because somebody sees a doctor who looks like them, sounds like them, so you don't roll your eyes when someone says that's a spirit, that's a demon. You don't go like
they bring up a spirit. Yeah. I'm gonna be like, okay, you did it first.
But you see, I think so. You see, to me, that's what I was going to say. Yes, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. We take for granted that most of the ideas of professionalism that we've adopted in society are a homogenous idea of professionalism, right? So we go, that's not professional. What we mean is that's not stock standard white man, like waspy white man as well. Because Southern white man, my Southern friends, they have a different vibe of what professionalism is. They'll say things, hey, darling. It's like, hey. That's not professional. You don't call people darling.
Yes.
But there you do.
Yes.
And then you go all around the world. Italians have different professionalism. French people have different professionalism. And I think that's something we take for granted. When we're treating people, helping people, discussing things with people, we forget that, guys, an African doctor will joke with you in a setting where no joke would be told. You know what I mean? Like a white person would go, I cannot believe that. Because an African doctor can come in and just be like, so you're dying. And you're like, what? Yeah, you're dying. You're dead this week. No, I'm joking. Huh? No, I'm joking. No, the blood test came back. You're looking good. They'll be like, that is unprofessional. Right. As an African, there's an element of like, come on. How come you can't be serious all the time? Huh? And I think those things are beautiful to examine. It's like it's fun to be in a space with somebody who knows you even though they've never met you, because then I think they can help you get to the place where they're helping you fix the problem, but they're not seeing who you are as part of the problem. They're not seeing your culture as part of the problem. Yeah. They're able to split it and go, oh, no. That's not a problem. That's just Black. This is the thing we're actually trying to solve.
Yeah.
So it's been really wonderful meeting you. Thank you.
You're doing the good work.